People remember a version, the German
Good
years,
evening,
right?
everyone.
There used to be a
Today,
guild
I'm
that
just gonna
also
watch the MDI,
pushed for that
and
world first, not necessarily first
maybe I'll
place, second
do
place, but they
some
were
beta
often
content
like
later.
in that
Although
upper
I will
echelon
just
of
be
like
setting up my UI if I
of
do any
guilds.
beta content.
And he played a lot of
So
DK Demon Hunter.
yeah,
Now I don't know
I
where
see a
he
lot of people
plays
watching
these
the
days,
MDI
if
right
just
now,
a
so
Demon
it
Hunter is
must
his
be
comfort pick,
decently good, right?
if he likes to play it as much.
It's getting to the
Could be
point where the
possible,
keys are
right?
really hard
There's
now, so
always the
it's
situation
getting
where you're
interesting, I'm
like,
sure.
I am actually that one person that plays Demon
I'm also a little
Hunter
bit late to the
better than
party.
most
The
people,
MDI has been
and
streaming for 3
I
hours
know if I
already.
play it, I'll be on
But surely,
par
like I
with
say,
some of the other classes, like
now's when it gets
Shaman.
exciting,
Or it
because
could just
the
be
key
that they
levels are high.
looked at these bosses, and arguably, Floodgate is a
Let me know
dungeon
if
where you
the
often have like a build
volume
similar
is
to
too low
House of
or too
Aura,
high
a big HP target
on the
that
stream,
you
by the
can
way,
surround
like on the
by
Twitch
lots
stream.
of small targets, like you're seeing in the bottom right corner here as well. And so that is where that Demon Hunter is going to shine with beautiful funnel damage. So I definitely see it as a class that could do well here in the Floodgates. And
See.
I think Antti are showing it.
Yeah, very cool to see some
Something like that.
variation here in comms between the teams, even in the global final on the second day here. So we'll see how Antti is going to be competing in his 21. This is also a dungeon where there is the potential to get a world record in, right? So we might be getting closer to those
standings
world
are
records being spread out
Holy
across
Method
the
are on top.
teams. If Antti gets this 21
Or,
done
wait,
and potentially
who's on
also
top? Is either Holy
Liquid. I
Method or
think
Liquid?
their
They're
strategy
the
is
same
really
score.
fast. We've just seen it in a 20. So if they manage to do a 21 now without the deaths that they had in a 20, I do think there's a potential for them to grab that world first.
They definitely have
Nearly
sped
dropped
up
my
since the last
drink.
time we saw them
Yeah.
in the Floodgate. So I'm hopeful with Antti. You know, I was so happy yesterday when we started our tournament day and they came into the Arakara and they had the fastest 22 Arakara and they just looked so good. But it all came at the cost of not going into the 23, which by now we of course know a lot of our teams were able to convert. So I think Antti probably focused in their practice a lot on having fast keys, which is always good. But maybe they didn't push boundaries as much as some of the other teams when it comes to converting that mystical +1 world record key that hasn't been seen before.
Holy
And
Method working on
I think
21
they
play
can,
gate.
based on their
Looks
times,
like
right? I think they're
Yeah.
definitely
3 of the
a team
teams are
that
doing
has
that
the
right now.
potential, but it might just be that
Yeah.
they prioritize a little bit different. Maybe we're like, oh, there's no way somebody's gonna do that key +1, and then you're gonna see like Liquid, Miscount, Mandatory, Holy Method zone into those dungeons. You're like, what the hell? Like nobody told us.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. We do see.
I'm making this up, of course. I need to say for the record, I have not spoken to these players. This
Is the
just theory crafting.
is the
But I
ban
could
rule
see
in
it.
I see
on
that
the
takes a secret
finals?
sources. All right,
I wonder.
all
Like,
I'm not gonna
do they have to
corrupt
change up the
anything.
classes at all? Specs at all?
All right, well, let's take a look at Miscount.
Like they
here,
did in
as
the earlier
this was
weeks.
actually the point where Miscount had a full wipe in their first attempt of this 23 here. So hopefully this is not going to happen to them again. I do believe it was like a combo of getting the pull in with the circles at the same time, and maybe getting pulled into a circle, getting pulled into orbs. Lots of things can happen in this boss, but this time around they are looking a little bit more solid. And Liquid also in that 21 flat gate, the same as
the
Antti.
Ascendants.
So both Liquid and
Big
Antti
down.
actually having a pretty similar approach to the day. Both of them going to streets first, getting
Also
the
big
20
down from
plus
the
2,
DK.
doing the 22, and then doing
On
the
the breath.
23 afterwards, and then moving into the Flatgate. So now both of them are kind of working as 21. We'll see if either or both of the teams even manage to one-shot the 21 Flatgate. That would, honestly, even for Antti, I think that's something that they really need. It's not just something that would be good. I think they really kind
Well,
of
they're swapping the pubs so
to
often.
be able to one-shot this, because they're a team that has to catch up quite a bit from yesterday, right? To the top teams if they want to get eliminated today. Because it's not, like, unfortunately for Antti, even though they have been playing well today, they really did, the other teams did too. Because they don't have the same score coming into today, that is not good for them. They have to play really well and even better than the other teams to be able to not get eliminated today.
So I don't know if you can hear that, but like faintly in the distance, I hear Dratnos yelling something about campers and bears. So unfortunately, Antti is looking like maybe they're not our fastest camper, unfortunately. So they will need to find a way, right? That is
I didn't
the
get that
task
joke,
for
huh?
today. But at the same time, there's two more teams who find themselves in a similar position. So after Antti just timed this 20, there are two teams that are sitting pretty much at the same spot. One is Identity, also on 108 points. They're currently working on getting that streets pushed up. Now, we know, of course, from the CN region that Identity were the first that kind of showed that so far attack.
He
with
died
the
from
triple
the
Oasis
dispel thing.
trash
Did he not
and
use a
the
personal?
lust. So
No,
their
he didn't have any
route in the
coolants
streets is
available.
good, and we know that they can do the 23, which is great. Mandatory,
Did he get?
however, are
Oh,
sitting on
he died from the
107
charge.
points as of
No,
right
it's
now,
over.
but
Go again.
Antti are having some trouble here.
Oh
Several
no,
deaths, 6 minutes lost
no,
for them,
dying
as
to
they're gonna need
dispel,
restart this 21.
initial damage,
Yeah, we're
and
talking about the
the-
Demon Hunter
getting charged by the
being a
boss.
potentially like secret sort
Yikes.
of choice for them
That's
here, but
that's
Seven
very
has been going down
tilt-inducing.
twice in a
I would
row,
feel so bad
not
if I died
having
to
a
that.
second
And it's
battle rest.
it's something that could happen to me as well,
Nothing
for sure.
to do with the spec,
Like if I
though.
zoned out or
Well,
I'm not
it
playing
is
well or
a
I'm a little
bit
bit
like-
tilted.
No, but it might
That-
be because you're a melee, right?
that
Like,
definitely
that's always
happens.
something
Oh.
to do. But we do see another
Wait,
death
what?
here for Identity.
Mage
and
died
that's
to the
really
chains. Wow.
I want to say another, like, from what we've just seen, but this is their first death for this run. So Identity is still looking very strong here, as they have a battle rest available, of course. But yeah, maybe, like, sometimes having that melee player can be problematic. Of course, DK is also melee, but DK, you know, has a lot of tools
Whoa, okay,
to be
DK
able
nearly
to
died.
survive some of these things that being in melee range throws
Holy
at you.
crap, he's
But
eating
Identity,
those orbs.
having some trouble as they're getting hit by a bunch of orbs here,
Yeah.
dropping incredibly low.
Well, there are a lot of orbs everywhere, which you know, you often drag Acolyte to one of the corners. The corner Identity has chosen is not the best 90-degree angle. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of orbs that are currently
You're
being
saying it
sent
might not
into the
be a
room that
corner.
usually well, it's probably like a 145 angle, which probably mathematically, I had to ask Dratnos on this.
More like an
but
etched
I would
in a
say
corner,
it
I would
counts
say.
as a corner. Yeah. So they're definitely getting a lot more orbs due to this, but probably the spot that they practice in. So hopefully that shouldn't give them some issues.
Alright.
For Antti, like you're mentioning, of course, any restart at this point is not good, right?
Mhm.
You're already on
Zero
one of
deaths,
the lower
23
points here.
streets.
We're eliminating two teams. They cannot afford to have many
Should be
bonus,
doable.
but thankfully, it was only a 6-minute.
I think they
loss
threw
for
the
them here,
hardest,
so
yeah, some
I
of the
don't
hardest
think that's
parts.
as bad.
Most of the hard
Sometimes
parts
there
of
are
the
just
dungeon.
scenarios where
They're just doing this pull now, which is easy
maybe
enough.
You're losing a brain global, you know, maybe something is happening that has never happened before, and unfortunately that just means you go down. For Antti, this time it was their Demon Hunter that had a little bit of an oopsie there, but I wouldn't count too much on that and say like melee, but unless you're of course saying melee is way harder than ranged.
Is
then
this
I would agree.
is this PvP?
No comment. Moving on. So I did want to mention that we're on like this midway
And
kind of
reply.
point, right? We have 2.5 hours into the tournament.
Reply
There's
to me.
2.5 hours left of the day. And when you said, like, when you came in and you talked about the fact that we are gonna have two teams eliminated, and we just kind of focus on that, and I was like, wow, wait, you're right. Like, it's crazy to
Yeah.
me that there's some teams. Oh, we do see Jan
Oh.
go down for Antti as well.
And that's
again,
21
early
floodgate
victory,
reset.
But still, like, it's crazy to me to think about the fact that two of these teams are gonna get eliminated. Like, because all of the teams that we are seeing on the screen, they're playing so incredibly well. All of these teams are going to be putting up key levels that we have not even seen in the group stage, or we have seen in the group stage but not
Hold
as
on.
fast. So that's just crazy that we're going to see two teams having to like leave the competition today.
Hold on, I'm seeing something that is making me suspicious. Identity is in fight with Commander so far. Now, this is not the route we saw in the CN group weekend from them.
It's just the overseer, right?
Okay, hold
What
on.
are they doing?
It's just the overseer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only saw the mini model and I was like, huh?
Yeah, it's
That's
the
not
same
their
model.
strat. He's maybe like an inch shorter.
Oh yeah, actually, I don't know what
adapting to
they're
the
doing here.
US
I've never seen the
audience.
elementals being pulled out here.
What is an inch? I don't know.
Like 3 centimeters.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ironically, that's also like the height
So, yeah.
difference between you and I in real life, right? So it's
That's true. Yeah, you're very short. Identity is now on their way to grab all of this trash, and this is where the lust comes in. So we've been talking
Hey,
about this
Wobster, what's up?
steamed identity tech the entire time. now you're actually going to get to see it. So they're getting everything together here. They just finished a Postmaster trash. And keep in mind, they haven't done so far yet. That was the one thing I didn't like about their strat, because they end up doing so far
Oh,
and, ooh, one down.
That's a death.
And one of the Peacekeepers at the very end, right before So Asmi. So that is what I didn't like about their route, but this pull in itself is super cool. They kite so much of the trash from the mailroom over here. They finish up this entire event super, super quickly. And I mean, they were really fast in their 23 in the CN Cup.
Yeah, they were incredibly fast, so they might potentially get back that world record that was snuck from them from, it was Holy Method, right? That took the 23, yes. So we're gonna have to see if Identity is going to
They're kiting the strong arms. Yeah, I guess so.
But,
I mean, they're strong arms, so
yeah,
they hit really
seriously
hard, right? When they
trash
have this
that has been done.
self-slow
Now we
debuff
see the
enrage thing.
walk back and to gather some more trash.
You lost
there
everything in
going into
Minecraft?
that,
You're down bad? In what way?
this is
How can you lose everything in
this
Minecraft?
point.
Wait,
There it
okay,
is.
actually, I don't
we
know.
could actually
I
have
shouldn't
a
ask because I don't
there
really
on
know
the
anything about
21
Minecraft and
floodgate,
how it all
llama
works.
pool.
But at least you do have a
Hopefully
5
we're
streams
able to
streak.
get
Yes, yes.
your shaman back up. Boomy dying to that sonic boom.
You were in the nether and you
And
fell
Identity,
into
of
lava.
course, having to
Uh-huh,
reset their dungeon
okay.
again.
Everything went up in flames.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Right, so you
no.
literally lost everything. Nice.
Okay, we're starting to get in a position where those resets are not okay anymore, right? I was saying like, oh, it's only 6 minutes, it's only 1 minute. Those are starting to add up. That's how math works. And so that's not good for Auntie. They need to get this run on the board, and they need to get it on the board soon. They have a lot in front of them.
Could I ever imagine to join an MDI? I mean, yeah, I can imagine it, but I don't think I ever will because, like, my team isn't really that interested in doing it. And also, our priority is just to play the classes that we like playing. And, like, with the ban rule especially, like, we can't even play our classes. I mean, we can play our classes for a bit until they get banned, and then we have to play something else, and then we'll suck because we don't really practice that. And sure, we could practice it, but then we have to practice it, and we don't really want to do that either. So it's like, nah, I don't see it.
And this is another team that I don't know how to feel about. You know, I watched their cup. They didn't look like they normally look in their cup. I had a couple of talks with them. They said, nah, we think we figured it out. We think we solved the issues that we had in the cup. But right now, they are not playing on the same caliber as some of our other teams here. They don't have a single world record key, for instance. So either they're waiting to just go back to back into those very high keys, or it is starting to get dicey for Mandatory. They need to put them on the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane to say this, but I do think that there is a chance that Mandatory even would be a team that gets eliminated today. They did now get the 22 done, which means
Where's
that they're now
Mandatory?
up to 109 points, which puts them above Identity for a moment here. But Identity is working away in this 23 key right now.
All right,
And once
109
they time
points.
this 23 key, Identity is going to be moving up, and I think they might be moving ahead of Mandatory because of the tiebreaker. So if Identity times this, that means that Anti and
I mean, it's
Mandatory
possible.
are the
I
bottom two
find it hard to believe
teams
that Mandatory will get
for
knocked out today.
Yeah. Now, of course, like you mentioned, it's halfway in the tournament day. So there's still some more hours for teams to get those dungeons done. At the same time, we are reaching a point where any dungeon that you haven't done yet is one of the dungeons that currently are holding world record tags, right? So those are not easy dungeons, like I said before. Those are dungeons that will probably need a couple of do-overs to get that super clean run. Those are dungeons where you can't afford a death, where you can't afford to have anything go wrong, and like your pulling sequence, unfortunate patrols in some of them. So it's a lot that maybe is susceptible to a little bit of randomness, and hopefully it all goes well for our teams. And if you think about it, 2.5 hours are essentially like 5 dungeon runs, right? So that's 5 dungeons you need to do for our teams here if they want to get another point here. I do think the max cap for today is going to sit at like
Sustaining 20 million DPS on Big Mama. I can't remember what we even sustained that on this boss. Like my team. I'm sure it's way lower than this.
And in the Halls of Atonement. So those are, I think they're locked. Do you think they go any higher?
I don't think
No,
so.
maybe not way lower, but definitely lower.
Okay, so
23 streets again.
I'm gonna do some math. They didn't allow me to, but we're gonna do it regardless. Then we know that 22 is possible in the Priory. We know that 23 is possible in the streets, and we know that 21 is possible in the Floodgate. Now that puts you on 112 if you do all of those dungeons. The big question is, can that streets and that Floodgate go one higher? That would put you at a maximum of 115 points, which I think is already very unlikely looking at... Oh yeah, see, this is why you're here.
It's fine.
This is already one of the things where I'm like, I'm not sure. Is it possible? Is it 24 streets even possible?
I don't know.
I would think our teams are going to be sitting on like 112 at least. Like the upper teams, probably
24 streets.
I don't know if 114 is possible.
I don't know.
So I think 112.
I want to bet
kind of
that someone can do
actually have to
24 streets.
to be able to not get eliminated, which is crazy to say, but I think it's true. I think the top 4 teams are going to be at least 112, and I think 113 is definitely something that is doable. But I do think it's not easy. Like it requires, as you said, either a 22 Floodgate, which we haven't seen before. We don't really know if it's possible or not, but it seems to be likely.
22 Floodgate is going to be
24 streets that
so hard.
Might or might not be possible, but honestly, to me, the 24 streets seems a lot more unlikely than a 22 Floodgate, just because of the timers we've seen so far in the 23 are close. Like it definitely does not seem like there's enough time left for if you just do the math between the 23 and the 24, right? Because obviously you can't math it out perfectly, but you have the extra amount of HP that the mobs have in the 24. Just it needs some extra time that you need to have left on the 23 for it to even be doable at all from a time perspective. Not to mention the fact that on the 24 everything does an insane amount of damage to you as well, and you somehow have to survive it too.
And every single one
it's crazy.
of the players
You do have 2.5 hours
of the of the specs in this team.
So our lowest teams
immune
are
the
points. If we think
interrogation
114 is the max, then
can a mage do
if we
it?
include an overtime run, it's
Is it just a stun? Can you blink out of it?
in terms of time calculation for them to get there.
However,
I think it is just a stun,
that
right?
hinges on the fact that they're doing 2 world record keys we haven't seen yet in a one-tap try. Which is highly unlikely. Expert analysis.
So that means
let me
the hunter is the most
review your
susceptible
chat.
one,
Highly
probably.
unlikely.
But he can just feign
But it
death
would be cool. I'd be down to see it.
Oh, me too.
if he doesn't have turtle.
I do want to take a look at missed count though for a second, because missed count is approaching like the end of their 23, and they've been looking pretty strong after having to reset this key once after like 14-15 minutes, so it was a decent amount of time lost for them here. But now they're looking pretty good. They are now fighting as Sogron, and they've done Mailroom Mayhem first, which is something we've also seen Holy Method do, which means that the splits can actually be compared pretty nicely here for them, because so far Holy Method, of course, holding that world record for the 23, and Holy Method split for Mailroom Mayhem was 22:49, which was 8 seconds slower than Miscount, and for Mises Oasis it's 27:42, which is definitely looks
Anyone
like
in the chat have
Miscount
any
is
favorites?
a lot under, not just a little bit.
I usually
Might
don't have a
even be
favorite.
more than a minute faster.
I just
than
like
Holy Method
to
here.
watch a
You think?
competition and
I think
see
so,
what people
yeah.
cook up.
Because
A minute? Okay.
for the Mises
I think like
Oasis,
half a minute probably.
it's
but like,
27:42 is
yeah.
and so
But a
it's
minute
down
would
to
mean
33%.
they kill this boss in the next 30 seconds, you think?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right,
Search is
all right.
running. Arthjax is pumping.
Yeah, just press your buttons. What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you're doubting them.
Okay.
AJ is doing so much damage as well. 2 million
You're right,
DPS.
listen, the boss is melting.
Is this this?
You
Is this
actually
pure
might
single
be.
target? Does it count the
maybe
previous
I'm just
patch?
not very
Sorry,
Still have to get
previous
trash though, right? 'Cause
I got to influence
pack as well. I think it
people's
counts the previous
hate
pack as
watching
well,
muscles,
actually.
I think.
So
So Holy Method did have 100% enemy force here. I did just immediately move up
I don't
to
know how much
assassin.
AoE the druids do,
And
but that's
Miscount has to
pretty
do
good damage.
something here, so
Even just
that
the
might
1
be the
million
difference.
DPS here from the
Like,
druid
close to a
on
minute.
single target on
It's
Swamp
gonna be
Face.
faster here in Mises
Oh,
Oasis.
wait. They do have divers. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on them and see.
I don't know if they do
how
any
they
AoE
move
at
on
all
from
or
here, but a
if
team
it's
that
all
has
single target.
already moved on from the postmaster, or is doing that right now, is identity. So they're getting close to the pull that I don't like in their route. I love their route other than this, but we're going to be doing so far with one single mob next. And it's cool because it allows you to already start DRP. That's awesome. What's not cool about it is you're fighting so far in one mob, and it just takes some time. But
mode that to beam splicer.
Mode going down to a beam.
Oh, and they had to go again.
And then it all goes wrong. They're restarting this key. You can actually see mandatory IRL on the right-hand side there. But let's have a look.
Oh no, that's a
liquid.
Really run, but that's a skip.
They failed the skip.
Maybe they can recover. Oh, we don't know.
5 minutes to kill the boss. Yeah, they have enough time.
Sevi's alive.
Yeah, they have enough time.
Okay,
they're fine.
They have to be fast, I think. We get the full rest up here for Liquid as we have the replay come through. So Wolf Disco goes down to the damage from the skip here. And it looks like the other members are just like slowly fall. Oh no, this wasn't even a skip. So Wolf Disco dies on the previous pull. They have the rest. Oh, they're skipping this whole area. All right, now.
What the hell?
Yeah, they have the triple jump, so they're skipping everything.
All right, so they have Wolf Disco go down early, which was
they're full wiping there.
They somehow managed to recover the skip still by having Gibbs run through, and Sevi was already there in the room.
Are they supposed to be able to skip really all the way through?
That would be incredible. Because
I think they can.
Without that?
5 minutes.
But anyway, yeah, they have enough time. 5 minutes is enough time to kill the boss.
I don't think
when
they
they rest, they were on like 450. So maybe 430 if we're being generous. I think that should still possibly be enough.
I'm not sure.
We'll see. Oh, so now who's not believing now, huh?
I'm checking. All right, so I think our Diesel Gigasep splits that we have are a little bit off because it all says like 6 minutes 27, which I don't think that's a proper split or the proper amount of time it took them to kill a boss.
So they are one of the teams that use Lust on Giesel Gigazep, which is why they already have melted this boss down to 68% within 1 minute 15.
I've called it.
They still have 3.5 minutes to go, and I think they're going to be on the good end of this. But at the same time, with those 6 deaths and only 1 Batarus available, they need to be very careful from here on out. Every single death could
is looking
be the
fine,
determining factor between timing this key and not timing it. It's by no means an easy time.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be doing a lot of damage here. 3 minutes left. The boss is down.
3 minutes is fine. They got it.
I think it is possible for them, but yeah, definitely can't have any mistakes, and they'd have to be pumping those damage numbers. So we're gonna keep an eye on them. As unfortunately, Anti has another death on one of their Cal pulls here. Jettison just taking out Robin, having to release actually. So they're gonna have to play with.
Oh, he released.
Here for just
Yikes!
A moment
No heal.
He's back, and they're trying to recover.
He's back
now, so I do think they can still do this 21 floodgate, but definitely can't have too much happen anymore for them. And miscount now at the end of their run, 40% Soasmi, the timer to beat for the world record is. Let me double check.
33:11. Now, don't ask me about the milliseconds. I don't know milliseconds. I only know 33:11. Both of our teams. Yeah.
True. Good point. So they're gonna be beating this, right? I think so.
Look how much time they have left. 24 doable.
Another port for sure that will take some time. So Asmi is one of these bosses where you look at it and you think like, this boss is pretty low. And then suddenly Asmi goes on an adventure and takes you with her, and you're like, oh!
I thought we got hit by a Shuri here, but it was just a dot
like
that took them so low, yeah.
Okay, we're getting a little bit here, but it's fine. Back with the group, get some heals now. So this is our port. Double technique is now coming in.
Killer
I think you're right.
Breath.
I think they're gonna be faster.
Yeah, they're gonna melt the boss now.
Like
they had a lot of cooldowns that they're pressing here. Even Yargi's cooldowns are coming up here. So like triple CDs for all of the damage dealers coming out here, and they have some time before the boss ports again. So they
it's crazy how much time they have. Yeah. So 24 is doable.
Here. Boss is for sure melting.
They were doubting, and I think it was Nogueira that was doubting. But I think I really do think 24 is doable for them. Someone's gonna do it this weekend. I'm calling it.
Okay, I love this. It's greedy, it's scary, it's dangerous, but it's worth it. Miscount.
No, yeah, for sure, Eamon, for sure.
In this 23, does it hold though? Another team is in this dungeon. However, they're already at 32 minutes, and they still have a little it to get through. So I think it does hold for Miscount.
It definitely holds. They already passed the timer that Miscount has. Yep. 31:51. That's absolutely insane, actually. That's 1 minute and 20 seconds faster than what the previous world record was from both Holy Method and Identity. So absolutely incredible speed here by Miscount. This is interesting now, because if the 23 is the highest key level we see in the streets, which I think is pretty likely.
No, I believe in 24.
So good for Miscount when it comes to a time tiebreaker, which I believe time tiebreakers actually are not completely unlikely to happen for even the winner, right? Like, it's very possible that tomorrow at the end of the day, we have a bunch of teams in first, second, third place with the same score. Because we're starting such high key levels, it's very possible that we see multiple teams with the same high key levels. And having a minute faster run in one of those highest key levels that are on the board, that is super strong for Miscount. Like, that's that might mean that they can be slower in the other dungeons by like a couple of seconds here and there. And that is like 1 minute, 10 seconds. Like, that's just absolutely crazy. I think this is gonna be incredible for them.
I think so too, but let me sell you on another dream, as Miscount has claimed their third world record tag here.
Holy moly.
How fast they are, technically.
No, I don't think
the 24
so.
Might be possible. Come on,
I believe it.
I think it's enough time.
At least let me sell it. Hello. That's just crazy.
I really
they had a death, you know. I think in a perfect run, Miscount could do it. I think they can. But
I would love
to
see
be
them
the only
attempted.
team to do it.
I would love to see them attempted for sure. But that would definitely be something
crazy.
That if they attempted, I think it would be something they try tomorrow, right? Because we can see them right now in that 23 Arakara. They still have to do. Have to. But we've seen two of the other teams do the 23, and Miscount didn't do it just yet. So we'll see if they can get it done. That would be another world record they could snack from the other teams, right? That would be a possibility. We're gonna have to see how fast their route is here in this era, though.
So, I'm going to ask the people who know everything, which is of course not the casters or production. I'm gonna ask chat. Chat, based on this Miscount run that we just saw there, do you think the 24 will be done this weekend? Maybe not today, but this weekend. Do you think we're gonna see it? I say yes. Nagura, the doubt there, she says no, but surely chat knows best, right? I'm going to rely on them.
I do think, of course, chat knows best, but we do see Holy Method here about to finish off that 21 floodgate. Let's see what the world record is here to beat. Of course, 21 still the highest key we have seen in this floodgate, which means another world record to potentially get. Miscount is the fastest team so far with 29:01. Which means Holy Method is not faster than Miscount here, but still
most people are
showing here for Holy Method, being able to
believing
one-shot
in the 24
right?
streets.
They did not wipe here once, which is incredible.
I really believe it. It's doable.
Well, speaking of wiping,
someone just needs a perfect run,
doesn't
and
happen very often, but every now and then
people. Well, the teams just need to decide that the 24 streets is the key that they want to try and push up one level.
Arakara, and votes are in, Nagura. Chat says yes, possible, 100%. Yes, well, Crystal say yes.
There it is.
You heard it here first.
Well, I guess we'll see it then. Yeah.
I'll remind you of it once we get there. But checking in with a team that also needs to put those runs on the board, mandatory. So we've already seen from a bunch of our other teams that they have put that 23 on the board. It is only mandatory that haven't done so yet. And I'm actually quite curious how their pathing through the dungeon is going to look like in this 23, if they're going to do anything differently. I really love the way we saw Holy Method and Miscount go through it, just because I think it's very valuable to A, be able to start the So Ask Me RP, and B, put so far into a big trash pull. I just love that. I think it's very efficient and dangerously scary, but entertaining. So hopefully we'll see something like that from Mandatory.
Miscount.
Hopefully we do. We do see another reset
again
coming through here for Miscount, but not.
I guess they're just dying in the first part in Arakara. Makes sense.
Arakara resets at the start. That is very normal, so nothing to worry about there, at least not too much. until it starts happening for an hour. Then we're going to be worried about that. Looks like Holy Method also decided where to go next, which is not surprising. They haven't done the 22 Priory that we have seen both Liquid and Miscount do yesterday. So now Holy Method is trying to replicate what those two teams did.
What are they waiting for, I wonder? Holy Method, they're just standing
them up to 112
at the entrance.
Would be one of those scores that we said is almost required to be able to not get eliminated today. And yeah, Miscount as well, working on their 23. Arakara, that Holy Method in return has done yesterday, which also would put them up to 112. So both Holy Method and Miscount looking incredibly
They're having to heal through this shield for a while.
It's interesting because all of our top 3 teams.
The DK is not going to have any damage going into this burn phase.
Still need one of those dungeons.
But the Demon Hunter probably does.
Needs a 22 Priory. Miscount needs
I think Hunter does.
23 Arakara. And Liquid needs the 23 Halls of Atonement.
But they'll be able to push the boss either way before the next phase, so it's fine.
The other 2 teams in that trio.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Not by many other
the boss actually kind of melted during that.
Below. So, for example, only Mandatory was able to do that 23 Halls of Atonement, but they have neither the 23 Arakara nor the 22 Priory. So, lots of work for them yet to come. And speaking of lots of work, we're checking back in with Antti. They had a couple of resets in this dungeon. 6 minutes in, a couple at the start here as well. We're really hoping for them to be able to slam this dungeon just so that in terms of overall time management, they have enough time in the day to maybe catch back up to that upper echelon of our competition. And we're going to be seeing if they can do it this time around. Robin, taking a little bit of a detour here. But
yeah, what was that?
We found our
the detour. Indeed.
Yeah, Antti definitely has to get this done now. Antti currently the lowest scored team at 108, right? And then we have 2 teams that are only 1 point above, though. So Mandatory and Identity, both of them are at 109. So I do still think there's quite a big chance for Antti to still make it out of this elimination range. But I do think at this point, I think it requires Antti to play really well from here on out. And I think in addition, it also requires Mandatory or Identity to not really get one of those keys done that they're trying to work on right now. Obviously, that is difficult because both Identity and Mandatory are really good teams, but it's for sure possible. We've seen all of these teams that are competing today wipe in certain dungeons for like hours. Holy Method, for example, they're now up to 111 score and they're strong, but yesterday, they wiped quite a lot on this 21 Priory, which means that they could also just spend the rest of the day in this 22 Priory and not time it. That is definitely very possible. Same goes for the other teams, right? We've seen Liquid.
I actually want to see the Priory.
We've seen. Okay, I want to say we've seen Miscount struggle, but
I want to see the
so
the route that
Miscount just has been really
these teams take in Priory, because that's going to be one of our next keys soon to push up on 21.
Interesting point there that
on
I'm
live.
Sure, you know, especially Mathnos.
Oh, they actually pulled these Lynxes, the patrol. Wait, did they do that by mistake? Because they wiped. Okay.
Liquid actually needs to be a little bit faster than what we've been seeing from them, as we do get a reset from Holy Method in the upper right corner. So right now, their timer
Rest in peace, Bubbles.
Is a little bit inflated because they haven't done their 23, as we were calling out. But they are for sure faster on, slower on the overall timers in these dungeons than Holy Method and Miscount both. So they might need to rerun some dungeons for faster timer, as Mandatory does have a death here. They do have a rest as well, so it should all be fine.
Yeah, we haven't fully like focused on like how fast
your PC broke. Just fixed it yesterday. What did you miss? You haven't missed much. We're at 3996 score now on live, so we're missing 4 score for 4K. We're gonna be pushing beyond 4K a little bit, but like not that much. But maybe tomorrow we can get that 4K.
Like on the timer that they get these dungeons
because we're not playing today.
Right? Like just doing a 23 halls or a 23 Arakara or 22 Priory, that might not be good enough. You might have to do those key levels and do them quickly as well. Which, if we get to this stage, if the time breakers do matter, then maybe potentially Liquid will have a little bit of an issue. Because, yeah, I think Liquid has been incredibly consistent, and they're one of those teams that surprised me a lot. And yesterday they were just like blasting through these keys, kind of like flying under the radar, as said in the pre-show. just kind of doing all of these key levels without wiping too much, but also not doing anything super fast or super flashy, right? And that might actually come back to bite them.
Rested Read is so good, dude.
Tomorrow or also later today, if we talk about those tiebreakers.
They're having such an easy time keeping the group alive on
we will need to
Swamp
keep an eye
Face.
on that. In the meantime, Holy
I
Method
mean,
is
at
back
least in
their
comparison to
run.
Arrested
Mandatory are
Shaman.
currently
Not saying
using
that Arrested
their
Shaman
lust
suck
now.
or anything. It's
Is
just
that
Rested
so
Reads are
far?
really
'Cause it
good at
does
these kind of
look like
fights
so
where
far, and it
it's
looks like
extended
they're
drop
just
damage.
playing so far with a Peacekeeper here, and that is where their lust is going. Now, I don't know how
What
to
did they
feel
swap
about
away there?
this.
I want to see that
I'm
pool.
just
feeling
gonna
pretty
say it, I
great
don't like
about
it.
Yeah, I don't think I like it either. I was really hoping they would have a good cook, you know, so far into mailroom lust or mailroom into Oasis lust or something like those things we've seen, or so far Snap. But this is a little bit underwhelming. We'll see if the timer
A 2-target
proves them
pull.
right and proves us
Interesting.
wrong, or if Mandatory are going to be a little bit tighter on that timer than some of the other teams.
We will be keeping an eye on it. It's wild seeing these runs as we're starting to actually see things settle a bit today, and where those teams can try to make up that time, set themselves up for good positions tomorrow, just like you were both talking about. But for right now, Nagura, we're going to let you off the desk for a bit, and we will see you tomorrow for the finals.
Yeah, I'm excited. Have a nice rest of the day.
Bye. And we're getting Zyro in. Zyro, welcome back to the desk. So teams are having to determine right now what their final keys will be, how much they can accomplish in the next 2 hours before we hit those overtime runs. But where do you think that our teams need to focus their attention to make the most of the rest of today?
So we kind of have the remainder of the teams, the 6 teams, kind of broken up into 2 groups of 3, right? Looking at the scoreboard, we have Holy Method, Miscount, and Liquid on the top 3 who look like they're safe from elimination for the day. Each of them have 1 key left from yesterday that they can do that the other teams have already done before they have to decide to go for something that nobody's done before, right? Holy Method has to do the 22 Priory, Miscount has to do the 23 Arakara, Liquid has to do the 23 Halls of Atonement. In the bottom 3, we have Mandatory, Identity, and Anti-Clockwise. I've only just now realized I've been pronouncing that wrong the entire season, but I will try to atone for my sins now. And the scary thing for those 3 teams is 2 of them are likely going home today in the last 2 hours. Now, they have a lot of work left to do. Identity and Mandatory are in the better of the situation right now. Mandatory only has to do the 23 streets to be ahead of the competition. Identity have to go back and do
That's a clean pull.
Atonement, or just one of the other 3 keys that we saw the top 3 teams pull off yesterday. Whereas
Yeah, I like that, pulling that bridge all the way here, and then just playing it on the bridge.
So we're kind of in 2 different competitions right now.
Then you're not at risk of
there is a world where
having to fight close to the big guy and waking him up.
2 hours of the day, and a Liquid or Miscount just doesn't time anything for the rest of the day, and this will get eliminated. But I think that's pretty unlikely right now.
I think so too.
Liquid trying to be the first team to go for 22 floodgates.
What do you think of Mandatory's routing in the 23? Because of course,
maybe they can do it.
We first saw that 23 in the CN Cup, and then we kind of saw it here today. Miscount locked in a timer that was incredibly fast, as we keep saying for this entire weekend, it feels like. Mandatory does come in here, and they are pulling so far with a single Peacekeeper, and that's where their lust is situated. Now, we are seeing them move on from here on out into that Overseer, and we are also seeing
they're gonna have to go again
on this 23 Halls of Atonement for Identity. But I just, you know, you vibe check, vibe crafting, eye test. It doesn't feel like this is the fastest way to route through that dungeon.
Yeah, it could be one of 2 things.
What key do we need to get me to us to 4K? 22 Ecodome, 22 streets, doable. 21 flood. 21 Priory. Any of those keys.
We were just talking about how this team is already behind the rest of the teams. But
Yeah, that's a struggle.
Slow, agonizing wipe.
They're gonna have to go again, I think.
Desired running back with the Wraithwalk. Do they think they can still potentially salvage this with 6 minutes left on the key? They already used the Bloodlust. They already used all the battle reses. No, it's going to be a reset.
They're gonna have to go again.
More time gone for them.
No, be very pig. I don't see us ever trying MDI. I've explained that a few times, but like we play the same classes and we're not really that interested anyway in competing.
In practice, they identified that they thought.
Right, I mean we don't play the same classes, but we want to play R1 spec, and well. Our spec has to be good, and we can't just play our spec either, because we still have to play other specs because of that spec rule.
Ooh. Now, I would love that. I would think that is so cool. I don't think Mandatory is in a position where they can afford that. Now, I might eat my words. If they go into the keys that they're still missing, like that 23 Arakara, that 22 Priory, and they just knock them in, I would take it back. I would take it back. Then I think they can afford it. But as they're sitting right now,
Kieran nearly died.
Their overall point score does not necessarily inspire confidence.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to go again.
Not the greatest of positions for Mandatory that we've
died from Holy Radiance.
Right?
Did he have a Knight Spear dot on him at the same time? Maybe.
Early on in competitions and bow out early, right? So the good news is, of the bottom 3 teams, they're in the safest, knock on wood position. They have a 2-minute time advantage over Identity, so if they're able to time at least the same amount of keys as Identity, they'll make it through without being eliminated. But they definitely need to lock in. Saving strats when you're on the verge of elimination, I agree with you. It's a feisty way to play the game for sure.
Well, sometimes gutsy ways to play the game play off. But here for Identity, that's not going to be the case. They're jumping off. They're going to go again in this 23 Halls of Atonement. I also feel like, I mean, I know you weren't here for the CN Cup, but I saw you watching a little bit in chat. Mm-hmm. I feel like Identity hasn't played the same way we saw them in the Cup. I didn't see any crazy
the pre-Invis potion.
Them. They've been playing well, but I think they have more potential than they're
gonna do this
showing. And I really, really hope they can tap into that.
Looks standard.
For the
yeah, it's completely standard, unless they pull something else into it.
Only a little under 2 hours left into the day until we have to say bye to 2 of our teams, which feels so crazy to say out loud, looking at how well all of our teams are doing.
Yeah, I mean, even though there's definitely a gap starting to widen between the top teams and the bottom teams, it's only 3 points right now. All of these teams have been so impressive the entire weekend, even the teams that got eliminated yesterday. One more timed key could have prevented them from being eliminated. So it's been incredibly close, and it's going to be the smallest of margins that decides who is going to be going home today. I agree with you, though. Identity has been impressive to watch, but it hasn't been flashy, right? They've just been doing consistent things.
Only 3 is not only an MDI.
Can we bring Liquid back?
I did kind of think that, but I wasn't gonna nitpick.
We've been talking about a lot of things. There are 6 dungeons that are being run right now. It's
3 key levels is a big deal, for sure.
I would really like to see Liquid on her screen once more.
At this level, I feel like 2 points is kind of outrageous. 1 point is very possible. And also, a tie with time tiebreakers is also quite likely.
At the times 21 floodgates that we have across the board, Liquid was the slowest by far of any of the teams. So the statement piece for them to go for this key before the other teams instead of going back and doing that 23 Halls of Atonement that we saw a couple teams do yesterday. So let's take a look at this key and see what really makes it so difficult, right? It's a lot of what we've already been talking about with the Floodgate, right? These first 15 minutes of the dungeon are just absolutely brutal. There are so many things that can go wrong. Tettle's identified a couple of things, Throw Dynamite being one of them. Overlapping with any of the other trash abilities will one-shot a player 100 to 0. This boss in particular, the debuff, in addition to the quick shot from Keys of Quick Fuse, that can instantly one-shot a player as well. So look at Ashine here, instantly dispelling that gel, just to make sure he doesn't instantly get one-tapped by the follow-up quick shot. That's something Sevi's going to have to keep an eye on the entire time. In addition to that, all of the time, having to make sure you're dealing with every single set of bombs. We already saw a couple of wipes to bombs going off, and then players getting picked off by the quick shot one by one after the fact. There's a lot that can go wrong on this particular pull, but it's just the difficulty of the pulls, right? You have to pull so big around your cooldowns in order to make a key of this level work. The fact that Liquid are this
I like that Yips is using Warglaive as his...
So, we of
100.
Top of show, in case you missed it, make sure you don't miss tomorrow's. We heard from Yips in an interview, and he was saying they have a dungeon that they think no other team is able to do +1, essentially. Do you think
is that
this
Floodgate?
22 Floodgate, or is there another super cool +1 dungeon that maybe no other team is able to do? What says you, Saro?
I don't know. So the thing about that interview, right? It's all of those interviews are recorded pre-competition. Obviously, we're not going to ask the players questions in the middle of the competition. So we don't really know what it could be. Obviously, the 21 Floodgate was looking like a pretty formidable key, so I could see this potentially being the +1 that they could do over every other team, and thinking that they had that over other teams before the weekend of competition. Looking at the leaderboard right now, talking about the fact that every other team except for anti-clockwise has timed the 21 and done it 2 or 3 minutes faster than what we saw from Liquid. I would err on the side of this not being the key that they think.
Three-way tie at the top.
Over other teams.
Time tiebreakers right now, but
what do you think?
However,
this is the one?
they're the first team that goes into this dungeon. Nobody else has gone.
I think
into
all
this
3 of those
dungeon.
top
Now, it
teams
might
will
be,
get
to
one more
come
score.
Back to what you're saying, might be that they're hiding. Might be that they're saying, "Oh, if we don't show it today, we can wait until tomorrow for the final day of the grand."
Because Liquid
finals."
can do 23
It
holes.
could also be that this dungeon is just.
I'm surprised that they're going
very
for 22
scary
Floodgate
for,
before that.
The reason that you lined out, so I'm quite curious on where
Holy Method can
Liquid
do
is
22
gonna land.
Priory.
We'll keep watching on this attempt at another world record key here on our screens. At the same time, though, we'll need to keep a little bit of an eye on the other runs that are happening. So, Holy Method's still at the beginning of
And
their
Miscount can
Priory.
do
So is Miscount. They had a couple of reboots
23
in this
Aura.
23 Aura Kara, actually, so not looking too solid. Same as Identity in their 23.
Do I think we can get the last 4 points for the 4K IO? Yeah, for sure.
A little bit of an eye on is mandatory because they're
Oh,
on
now
their
died.
way towards. Ooh, now does go down.
Now.
Towards
Then they had to go again.
Of this straight ski, and I'm really curious on where their timer is going to be sitting because, of course, we are comparing teams on score, on timer, and mandatories are out. Just looked a little bit sus.
Yeah, it still does look a little sus, but the time does look like it's going to work out in their favor. They have the Bloodlust ready for whenever they think it's going to be the most useful for them, likely going to be on pole of Soasmi. But the timer looks good. We're at 7.5 minutes left in the key. Soasmi on 23 is probably about a 4-minute boss.
They're
Give them
gonna
about a
be
minute and a
on
half to
time,
close
but
past
their
before they
time
hit the crowd.
tiebreaker is not gonna be
As
good.
sus as it might have looked,
I don't know.
if they get the key timed, I think
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Now, the real question mark
I don't know
for
how
me
well they're
is
gonna do.
if not working on this
At least they get
strategy
1 more point on the
might
board.
later on down the road, right? Because if you look at the time for miscount, it looks like they have headroom for a 24 in that key, which would be
Right?
pretty
I
crazy.
was talking to Nagura about this. We even had to consult chat because she wasn't agreeing with me, and obviously I made chat force her. So I'm saying with Miscount's timer, the 24 straights could be possible. If it's livable, they for sure have the time. Do you agree?
I think they do. Now, there's a couple things I want to talk about in regards to Liquid as well here that we haven't really covered, right? Yes, their Floodgate was the slowest, but they also wiped in it. Number 2, are you noticing what's on the screen right now? For Liquid, go back to Liquid.
A lot of danger. Yeah, we have
no, look
a
at
bunch of snipers.
The 22 Floodgate.
Why are there depleted splits on their timer? Where did that
I don't know.
information come from?
I don't see any splits. I don't know
No.
what you're talking about. Nope, I'm not
No.
seeing them. Nope. You can't make me talk about those splits. I'm not going to acknowledge them.
Okay, all right. Never mind then, sorry.
Zyra trying to trick me into leaking something. I would never. Those splits don't exist, chat. They're fake.
Okay.
They're a diversion tactic.
I just wonder if they're real and if that means they're actually about a minute behind. I don't know. That's really cool to see if it is real, if it's something from our observers. Who knows? But either way, Liquid looking strong in this 22 Floodgate so far. 0 deaths through some of the most difficult pulls in the key already. Hopping back on with Mandatory in their 23 streets. We thought the strat was sus, but 5.5 minutes left on Soasmi. Lust on the pole. It's looking like it's going to be a timed key for them.
It's definitely timed, but they just don't
is
have much
the
time to spare.
key enough is the question. Now, for now, yes, it gives you an extra point. That's great. Mandatory does need extra points just to make sure they're bringing more distance between them and the potential elimination that awaits at the end of day. On the other side, if you want to win this tournament, you not only need the score, you need the score and you gotta be fast, okay? So if we're looking at teams like Miscount who potentially could do a 24, we don't know. They're certainly very, very fast in this traits key. So either way, the cookie crumbles. Mandatory will need to be faster here or be able to do a +1 on a key. That is already a +1 from what we thought possible. I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah, it's a weird spot.
They're here again.
And you would think
They pulled the
from last year,
Lynxes, right?
Last season, where they missed out on winning the MDI.
I can't see anything on these Blizzard frames, but I can't read the names.
Really close, and you would assume that they would have learned. Okay,
these are the nameplates we had to play with, by the way, in the Well Within.
We'll have to see where they actually end up landing on their timer in this key, because it looks like it's still going to be relatively fast. And if they do have the other strategy prepared for the 24, so be it for tomorrow. That would be insane to see. But just the way that they play this dungeon today, little bit sus. Either way, we'll see where they land on the board there, and if they're able to get a good timer there in the long run. Anti-clockwise back. Sorry,
there's that woman. I meant midnight.
That most recent heartbreaking wipe to the jump starter pull at the very end of the dungeon, working on their 21 floodgate.
I mean, they are basically the same. They might look slightly different, but they function the same way. Like, either you play with the stacked stuff and you can't make sense out of anything, you won't be able to click anything, or you play with the stacking nameplates, which honestly seem even worse.
Yeah, unfortunately that's true. I'm kind of looking at this timer here for Mandatory. Quick reminder, world record tag from Miscount sits at 31:51, which Mandatory is not going to beat, but it could be that they're at least faster than the other teams we've seen in this 23. So they've been sitting around 33.
Probably better to just play with the default overlapping ones.
I think they could be
but that's still really bad
on where they're standing right now. So they're gonna need, I think, one more of the
just copy from Plater. Yeah, no,
to get through,
exactly.
Which of course
at least
slow you down a bit,
you can
but I think they might
make sense out of a million mobs with Plater and with proper spacing. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong. Plater is not perfect either, but it's definitely way, way, way better than what Blizzard is showing us on the beta.
Which is definitely not that slow compared to our other teams. They also had 2 deaths as well, so you know, maybe they decided this is more than good enough. We have a lot of headroom here. We're not going to try to struggle with this strat for the 23. I still am of the copium that they have something prepared for a potential 24. It looks like that's probably going to be one of the factors in deciding who's going to win our competition, either later today or tomorrow. If somebody can pull out the 24 streets, that's so powerful, right? Because not only is it a +1 score over other teams, it's the most important.
Anti-clockwise.
High key being the first tiebreaker is so
go again.
But again, more problems for anti-clockwise.
Will I share my UI midnight as well, or am I gonna get a UI or something like that again? I'm not so sure glitch result. We'll see. We'll see.
That's such a heartbreaker. They came so close.
Nothing set in stone yet.
Anything unraveled. Now back to trying to figure everything out, but they just keep wiping in that key, and they need to put it on the board to try and have a chance to maybe attempt any of the +1s that they still haven't transferred.
No! GG died to melee there?
Checking in with Holy Method, as they're currently also working on a key that some other teams were able to do, and they want to prove that they can as well. Now, we had a couple of hiccups earlier on. This particular poll really likes to claim lives for them, so let's take a little bit of a closer look at what exactly is going on for Holy Method here.
Yeah, start of the poll was a little wrong for them, right? Like, they had Jinji go down to a melee from the Priest, which is not something you normally see. And now Kush also going down to aggro from the Knight after it gets misdirected in. He instantly releases.
And Jinji dies.
Be a wipe from them. This
and they go again.
Really disgusting pull. This is actually something that we didn't see yesterday.
That's a really nasty pull, isn't it? I think that's bigger than normal on that mini boss. Huh.
Holy Method sticking to their strategy, and it's causing them issues still today. They weren't able to get the key done yesterday after a few attempts as well, so to see if that continues to be a sore spot for them as they attempt to finish off the remainder of the keys that have been timed for our teams this weekend. Identity, and as well as Miscount working on the remaining 23s from yesterday as well. Identity, this will be their first 23 if they're able to put it up after the streets. This is a good-looking pull for them so far. They've had so many issues to the first couple of shards of Halkias, but this is one of their best attempts we've seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely right.
That's a clean gather.
This is the first time, like you're mentioning, we'll see them move through the 23.
That pull is mentally in priority. Yeah, it is, right?
That we saw from them also in the CN Cup. It wasn't the most stable of dungeons, the Halls of Atonement. Now, partially that is due to this dungeon having a lot of one-shot.
Did I see it right?
That will just take
Was it 2 nights?
You misstep.
I need to see that again when they get there again.
You get bitten in your ankles one too many times, you know. However, it would be really nice if they were able to get it on the board now. This is going to be
first part of Priory is pure raids. Yeah, I mean the entirety of Priory honestly kind of is.
4, 5, 6,
Like the light spawns at the end with the footmen and the paladins as well. And like sometimes some routes. I don't know if the MDI teams are doing it.
Oh no! Please press him quickly so
we're gonna go to their 14th attempt.
Yeah, to pull 2 light spawns.
It's not over just yet. You can recover from this. The shard is about to
Usually
go
it's
down.
just one of the
As
pulls.
long as we beat the next Thrash and don't get any more overlaps, we should be okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I think we're fine. All right, we're good. We're alive. As long as our tank stays alive, we can continue with these pulls. Scary moment for that there for identity, but the quick res.
Tanks should basically be immune to dying.
Though, is they have managed to get through some of the most difficult
against
pulls
those mobs
in this dungeon.
I
They've
think.
defeated Big Mama at 1942, 20 minutes into the dungeon, and they still have 2 bosses remaining to deal with. This is going to be a ridiculous end to the dungeon. It looks like, you know, even though they're on 0 deaths, the timer is looking extremely sus here, Mix.
It depends on how fast they can accelerate, right? I'm trying to grab our fastest.
What's the total timer in
21? Of course, we only have
Floodgate
that
again
compared to a 22. And to give you an idea of where our other teams were sitting in that 21, Miscount's fastest run was Demolition Duo 8:57 and Big Mama on 16:48. Now, we usually count for like 3 minutes on the higher key levels, which...
Is it 33 minutes?
I think we're okay here. I think there's enough time in the dungeon for them to still be on the good end of where these splits are sitting. But, of course, any death, and we're already getting in a territory that is pretty scary in something as high as this 22 Floodgate.
What are they going to do with this stag shell? Can they not finish it off?
Each of these bosses, absolute beasts at the highest key level. Every single Thrash from Swamp Phase is going to be doing tons of damage. In the meantime, Miscount on a great attempt at the 23 Arakar that they were unable to time yesterday. If they're able to get this done, they will also be one of the first teams onto that 112.
It also depends how much they can skip at the end, Liquid. I'm not too familiar with the percentage that's needed when you go downstairs. Like, are they doing the double skip at the end? Like the... Are they skipping all the big guys, basically?
We've seen a couple of different trash count strategies where teams will either go for just one side of trash heading into Kikatol the Harvestor, or they go for something a little different, more like what Liquid did, where they'll pull the boss and then maybe do trash after or during on the other side, the opposite side that came down. I want to see what Miscount's solution to the plan is, if they're able to get that far in this attempt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, the method is here again.
On them. In the meantime, they are restarting their run. Identity, after initial trouble, was able to keep it alive, but MGT does go down here, followed by their DPS as well.
Did they
accidentally
pull the
in front of them? This 23 will
the
not
stone
be
guy,
the one that they're
the gargoyle, whatever it is called.
Try number 14 is the one.
Or did they intend to pull that? Because someone died to melee.
And I mean, the thing is, we've seen from other teams, right, in other runs, it doesn't slow down after Halkias. There are still difficult pulls to go after the fact. Dealing with the ankle biters and the triple reavers. You have the bloodlust for it, yes. You have the cooldown saved for it, yes. But it's still one of the most difficult pulls to pull after Echelon as well. With the double Houndsmaster on top of the Reaver. That's another dangerous pull in the dungeon. Like, it doesn't stop once you get to Halkias.
Okay, so that's this mini-boss again.
Well, the attempts have looked good for Identity. They still have a lot of work to go before they can get this key timed. They're going to keep putting in the attempts. They zone right back into the Halls of Atonement. Meanwhile, Holy Method still working away at this 22 Priory of the Sacred Flame. They put in a few attempts yesterday. a couple of attempts today, but it's really been these pulls at the beginning of the instance that have been causing most of the issues for them. After dealing with this mini boss here, the next pull is really kind of the
clicks just hex
for them, right? The double night pull with
oh, did he hex one of the patrols? Probably.
Yeah, it's a tough pull by all means. We've even seen players go down to just a molten lava on the ground because it's a lot to dodge while everything else goes on. And we'll keep an eye on Holy Method as they are moving through this, at least for now. This pull likes it should be defeated. The Forge Master slowly
Yes,
but
they
surely
stopped
going
that
down
before. Well, they killed it before the next heat wave. The heat wave is so scary.
Another reset
What is this?
right here, right
Bruh.
now, but I think we really need to look at Liquid because they're getting closer
No.
to that
Back to Holy
swamp-based
Method.
boss split. And I want to see.
I wanna
where we're
see
standing on
this
that
pull.
timer. That's going to be relevant.
Is that 2 nights?
Reminder: our fastest 21 was 22:24, which if we're sitting on 25:24-ish, I'd be okay, and that seems to be exactly where we're going to be landing.
Is it 32:30 the timer in
the Bloodlust here,
Floodgate?
Very telling. They felt like they needed to press it to kill the boss here. Look at Sevi. He is on fumes right now, showing that the healing requirement on this boss is absolutely
Is it flat
ridiculous.
33?
Look at the healing done meter. Sevi's had to do 9 million HPS to keep his team alive.
Doable,
through this
doable, doable.
encounter on
Yeah.
this difficulty. Unbelievable. Now, the problem is the time is running out for them. We have only
I think they just need to
7.5
execute this skip
minutes
properly without deaths. I don't know if that's possible.
for them to deal with
I've
the
not
last
seen
couple of
anyone
pulls of this key.
do that
The
skip.
problem that I have with this is that the Lust is usually used for this pull where you're pulling all this trash on top of the jump starter. Either way, Liquid.
They're not
know
pulling.
They have to go
They're
for
not
it.
pulling the
We're gonna
jump
time this
starter, are
key.
they?
Let's see if they're going to be able to pull this off. The problem with this pull, though,
There's no
is
jump
there's
starter.
So many
They don't-
electricians that they have to deal with, which means not only
No, it's just 2 electricians. No.
but also so many debuffs that
Oh,
do
wait.
so much damage to the
Wait, they're
group.
pulling that as well.
So
Okay,
they're
okay.
just
There's
attacking
actually
down
3
and
electricians.
up the jump start on the electricians for
Or
the
is it
time
4?
being, though.
Yeah, and like you're mentioning, that requires
No, it's 3, right?
a
It's
lot
3.
of coordination. First of all, those
Okay.
inspectors, they like to go haywire, or we're getting a little bit of a replace here. I assume that means
Oh,
nothing
okay.
for this run. Yup, Gingy does unfortunately go down for Holy Method here, but back to Liquid.
It is 2 nights.
They have to interrupt
2
all
nights
that.
and the
They
mini
have
boss
to
is
CC those
plus
inspectors to try and
sharpshooters.
make sure
Like,
they're not
bro,
actually
how
hiding behind
how
them
are you
and
supposed to
just
live that
sniping players. Now
consistently?
the shine does go
Oh
down. They
no.
do have a bad
Yeah, that's the
run.
lightning
No
bolt death.
worries here, but every single time one of your assigned CC interrupters, which at this point everybody in this group does go down, you are starting to maybe be in a situation.
They need to
in a
be on the
world of
boss at the
pain
4-minute
chain
mark.
reaction could be set off.
Can they be
For
on the
Liquid,
boss at the
they're
4-minute
able to
mark?
recover, but the
They
danger
kill this
is
trash
then
off
they
and
need
then
to
they somehow do this
Hold on, so
skip.
they're pulling these 2 electricians. Is this count for them? Normally these 2 electricians are skipped. You normally don't pull these ever, and you end up pulling the jump starter plus double electrician pull that you can see off in the distance here behind Wolf Disco's frame at the top of the screen there. Are they going to go for a double skip here if this
Yeah,
pull
it's a
is
double skip.
somehow
It's a double
goes
skip.
straight into Gizo Gigazap afterwards? That would be
I
impressive.
sure
and
hope
they,
so.
they might actually have the time
I don't
for
think they
that
have the
if
time
this
to
is
do
Yeah,
anything
no.
else.
I think Cyronic is right. I
that's
think
exactly
they
what
actually
we
do have the
need. I
time.
think this needs
They
to
kill
be
this
count.
off.
We need to skip the next pack.
They'll
and we
be
need
at
to
the
get into this
4:30
boss.
mark
Now,
when the
thankfully,
last mob
Gizo
dies,
Gigazap
maybe?
is not one of
Maybe
the bosses
4:40.
that takes a very long time, but on a 22, he's still gonna take a little bit.
I don't know
You
how
can
long
see
it
that
takes to
Liquid are
execute
inching
this skip.
closer every single time. Those inspectors are jumping around. We're kind of baiting them in the direction where we need to go to make it to the boss. And yes, you're absolutely right,
Oh,
Zyro.
double
This is
CC.
count. Here comes
Walk
that skip.
past
They need to make
and then
sure
do the
this is
normal
clear.
skip.
X in Frost Trap. They're going to be able to
4
knock
minutes
these
left
off, or potentially just use Feign Death if Wolf
when they
Disco
pull the
was the only
boss.
one that was even closer
Holy
to
crap,
combat
this
with
is
them.
so close.
And it is Wolf Disco. He's going to be pulling the jump starters. He'll turtle in the corner there. He's got to run by, Feign Death off the aggro of the jump starters while he's far enough away from them so that they reset. Looks like he's done it. And Liquid
410?
are through with the double skip. They're out of combat, recuperating just a little bit to top the
They
health
don't have a
bars off
lust.
before they
This
get
is
into
gonna be
combat
so
with
close,
Gizo Gigazap. Do we
timer-wise.
think 4 minutes, 15 seconds is enough for them to take this encounter down, though? They don't have Bloodlust.
I'm gonna say yes. I did the math earlier on the timer differences between the 20 and the 21. 21, you can kill the boss in like 3:25, 3:30 if you're fast-ish. I think 4-minute 20 is going to be good enough for Liquid.
There's
but
no
that
lust
all
at the
hinges on
start.
the fact that they need to
And
be
there's
here
no
every single
ascendance
time
on pull
a
either.
death occurs, that's 15 seconds against
They
the
only
timer,
get
and
1
Liquid does not have
ascendance.
those 15 seconds to give at all.
Absolutely not a single death
with this
will easily be
timer.
the end of the run. I'm trying to like extrapolate out what we already saw today. When we were talking about the potential of the +2 chested 20, this boss was taking teams about 3 minutes 25 seconds. About 10%
Have I
more each
mentally
time. So you
prepared?
would think,
Sorry, have
okay,
I prepared myself
this
mentally
boss
to say
should
goodbye to my
die
weak
in a
chorus?
little over 4 minutes, which
I'm
is
as
scary 'cause
prepared
that's
as I can
about
be, I
exactly
guess.
how much time
It's
Liquid
not like I
had left
rely
in
on
the
them,
key,
but it's
so
going to be really annoying
they
to
need
not have them.
pray for good DPS RNG. We need Black Arrow procs during the cooldowns. We need Frost Scythe resets. We need everything. We need DRE procs on the Ellie Shaman because Boomy is really not pulling his weight on the damage meter right now. We need to see him go up in flames right now. Proc.
Well, good news is Ascendance is coming up, so then Boomy will get a time to shine here as well. At the same time, though, this boss isn't any less dangerous on a 22 than it is on
The boss is dying fast enough.
You still need to play those mechanics. You do get
I
a
think.
little bit of leeway with having that DK in your group. You can AMS some of these just to make sure to maybe clean up some ways to not get an orb, to not stun
Wolf
the
Disco is doing
puzzle.
some
But if that
disgusting
happens,
damage here.
oh boy, I don't think you're going to be able to lift that. So they need to be so clean.
Well,
Sebi knows
Ascendance
that,
is coming up.
gets out ahead of time
Well,
to
it's
make
ready
sure
now,
that
but maybe
orb
he's
goes
waiting
in
for
the
something.
right direction to not clutter up the space that the melees are having over there. And you see, it's all very limited for Liquid as they are on pace, I would say. So we had 4 minute 20, we're now 2 minute 10, and we're right around that 50% marker. Now, Ascendance is ready. We do need to send our cooldowns into the boss as soon as possible. Whenever
No,
we
not
get
as soon
a
as
good
possible.
chance to tunnel through,
He only
it
has
should
one
be
more
hopefully
Ascendance. He
soon.
should be using it at the
That was a
perfect
good proc
timer.
there for Boomy. That brought him a little bit closer to the damage of his teammates. He's sitting on the Ascendance cooldown, but this is on purpose. You can see that Storm Ellie is going to be up in 10 seconds. He's going to try to stack that Storm Ellie buff up for his Lightning Bolt before he pops the Ascendance. We need to get absolute maximum value out of every button we can possibly get in order to kill this boss.
He's setting up now.
Stormkeeper active. Here's the Storm Ellie. There's the Ascendance coming
There
in
it is.
just a moment here. That's the final cooldown for Boomy. Can he make this work for his team? We'll also get one full
Ashan
use, just
gets-
one, of the Call of the Wild on Wolf Disco.
Ashan gets
one
another
full set of
breath,
cooldowns
too.
From Ashan. That is going to be it for Liquid. Only a minute 20 left on the key. Do they have the juice to take the world first 22 key in this Operation Floodgate?
Well, I think they do. Lock in, chat. We might be writing history here once more at the MDI Grand Finals. Already so many world records on the board. Already so many of our dungeons going up one key level more.
I can't
We
believe.
initially thought Liquid coming into this competition a week before we start say we think we can go one level higher than any other team. Is it this 22 Floodgate? We're not sure, but what we're sure of is that we're watching history.
Oh,
right
they're
now.
stopping.
35
I mean,
seconds
the
left, which makes
the
there
damage
are
is kind
no
of dropping
more
off.
cooldowns that will be
But
active
they
before
have
the end
one
of the
more
key. We'll
Pillar
get literally
Frost.
one Black Arrow cast out of the Call of the Wild for Wolf Disco, and that is it. One
No,
more
the
pillar,
damage has really
one
fallen off,
side cooldown
but-
for a shine. And the problem with this comp, when the cooldowns are down, the damage slows to a halt. They were burning through the remaining HP of the boss with those cooldowns.
That
but
one
now,
death might have been
just
it.
slowly inching away. So aggravating. See the boss not melt
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
5% left on the boss.
Come
Call of the
on,
Wild
4,
active. One Black Arrow. Can they get it
3,
done? 2 seconds left.
2,
No.
It's not going to be
It's one
enough.
death.
Liquid. The death
Wow.
was the difference.
Wow.
So close on that timer here. What a heartbreak.
I'm devastated just looking at it. Like, I think it's gonna change or something. I keep hoping, like, maybe that second,
Wow.
those seconds will come back.
Yeah, you're kind of
That
hoping for
sucks.
that mystical under
That's
1
like
second
a
round down
huge mental
roll,
hit.
but unfortunately, it's a
And
1
half an hour
second.
lost.
It's not a 3 second, but this
But
also
they're
means
just gonna try again, I
that
guess.
They have it, right? They know they can put this dungeon.
How many
on
lightning
the
bolts?
board
There's a lightning
if
bolt.
There are 0 deaths here. This is where it all went wrong. Unfortunately, that lightning bolt that took down Shine here, but they can do it. That's what you have to hold yourself to. And keep in mind, as we saw an absolute phenomenal run out of Liquid here.
Miss Count has got this one.
Man.
So that'll
but
take them
the
to
thing that I wanna point
112
out,
score.
yes, it's doable for them. But it has to be so perfect for them. Meanwhile, miscount.
Wait.
On the 23, Kira's down. Okay, the good news. This boss will not instantly murder your team when he dies. He's kiteable.
Okay.
You can get the
No,
battle
they're
reses
fine, they're
off,
fine.
But they cannot afford
That's still
any
enough time.
further mistakes. All of their battle reses are gone. Only 4 minutes left on the timer. But
You blame the
that
Ascendants
should
not
be
proccing often enough.
to
Yeah,
defeat
fair enough, fair
the
enough.
boss here for them. They just have to make sure they have no further deaths. One more death makes will be the end of the key.
So where's Method now? Right now?
Of course, we were kind of watching a lot of that 22 Floodgate for obvious reasons. But
they're still in Priory, right? But where in Priory? Have they gotten to that part again?
23 be put on the board by other teams already, but Miscount seemed to have some trouble in this.
Holy Method is in Floodgate now? Did they give up? No, they didn't.
They've been absolutely
not at the moment, Andev. Not at the moment.
This is the only dungeon.
There's a three-way tie right now, but there's going to be Miscount on top once they time this key.
And now they're here back at Kickatal, able to have a good timer, able to have the full count.
Score-wise, it's a three-way tie.
Go in their favor, of course, all hinging on what you just pointed out.
But
they can't afford
they just need to not have any deaths here. I don't think this boss should kill anyone, but it's possible.
In the 1 minute 20 seconds since those deaths, they've only managed to do about 15% of the boss's HP, so damage has slowed to a halt for them. Good news is we have
It's 3 minutes though. They're fine. As long as they live, the boss dies in time.
End of the dungeon. So it looks like it's going to be a timed key for Miscount, but I think the important thing to note is if they do time this key, the timer will be extremely slow for them.
Rip mandatory.
And as we've been talking about the entire weekend, our last global finals came down to a matter of seconds. So even though they'll have this 23 on the board, it's very likely something they're going to have to revisit if they want to be the winners of the competition.
Yeah, and I mean, just hopping across the board, you're seeing a lot of do-overs. And that just goes to show how well our teams have been doing, right? How insanely fast they pushed up those keys to levels and beyond of what we even really thought was possible. So now we're starting to get real progress keys on our screens here, which is incredible. I love seeing those keys. I love seeing teams kind of struggle and figure stuff out in real time. It's a little bit like the Race to World First in dungeon format, right? It's really, really cool to see them kind of figure out those pain points. At the same time, though, we need to kind of keep an eye on Miscount here. You were saying, yeah, their timer could be very tight here. We are going to be getting another set of cooldowns.
I feel bad for Liquid.
The board, but that will be
having
the
to
last
redo
one
that key
for our teams here before that timer ticks away. I think we're going to be on the good side of this, just for the record.
We are. Again, the timer is a concern for them. I guarantee you they will be re-entering the Arakara at some point this weekend to make that timer a little bit faster, and there's not a lot of time left now as we get to the last hour and a half of day 2 here. Liquid unfazed by that attempt, instantly going right back into the 22 Floodgate in the top right.
Oof.
Their identity.
That's a wicked bolt going through.
Another wipe in the Halls of Atonement for them.
And a death from a pot shot. Do they have a rest? They do. Are they gonna go again?
Haven't been working out for them, Makes. It's been
okay.
a comedy of errors here in the start of Priory for Holy Method. It's been really unfortunate to see for them. They really just need to get through this first boss and get on a good run. I feel like they're just throwing bodies at the key and hoping that it'll work.
Well, sometimes it can work like that. Sometimes if you just go often enough, it will solve itself. But here's Miscount putting that 23
timer was
on the
surprisingly
board,
close, honestly, for Miscount.
Time, but still a little bit of leeway here, despite those 3 deaths, and that is the 23. Now also for them, the question is, where do
time this time? They're number 1 now.
Score sheet. We're on 112 points. Nagura and I were doing some math earlier, and we were saying the maximum possibility if the Floodgate goes to 22 and the Street somehow magically goes to 24 would be 114 points. Now, Miscount is missing those 2 keys exactly, and we don't even know, well, based on Liquid, we are pretty sure that the 22 Floodgate is possible. We don't know if the 24 Streets is something teams are thinking about at all. Miscount are saying,
I believe they should be thinking about it.
I think they can do it. Where we're actually going to be going next.
Oh, yeah, they have forced breaks, don't they?
It's coming closer and closer to its peak point where teams will be locked into their dungeons, and of course at the end of it 2 teams will be eliminated. Now Miscount is not at the risk of being one of those 2 teams.
Did you just say Miscount?
Some others are.
Sorry.
Yeah, hold on.
Anyway.
Just in. Miscount has accomplished all they wanted to accomplish today. They will
I'm kidding.
There's none of that. None of that this weekend.
I am promising you, not this weekend.
No, not this weekend. I'm so excited to see what they have in the plans. Now, fortunately for them, they get to take the remainder of the break timer and think about what they want to do. During the break timer, they could easily check the broadcast, see what other teams are doing, see that Liquid had a really good attempt at the 22 Floodgate. The problem with miscount in past competitions, specifically looking back at the previous MDI, is there were keys that they genuinely just didn't know were potentially timeable, right? In that competition, there were 3 of them. There was the Motherload +1 that they somehow miraculously managed to 3 or 4 shot, even though they didn't know the key was going to be timeable going into the weekend. And there was also the Cinderbrew Meadery and the Theater of Pain that were both timed +1 key level higher than them. They were both keys that Miscount didn't have in their bag. They didn't have them practiced. They didn't know they were timeable, and that was what really cost them that competition. Do we think that they also have the 22 Floodgate as a potential opportunity here? Where do we think they're going to go for their next +1?
Well, that's what I'm asking, right? I think if you look at your own timers, you look at that 23 streets, and you look at where you're standing in that leaderboard, I don't think you go into the 24 streets even if you think you can do it. I think you go into the 22 Floodgate just because Liquid has already shown that it is possible, and so you're not giving anything away. I do think based on the timer, though, Miscount is fast enough to at least do the 24 streets.
I wonder if Liquid can do this dungeon any faster.
To figure out, and maybe for them to know, but the 22 Floodgate...
Like, did they lose time anywhere? Did anyone misplay their cooldowns, anything like that?
About the spirit of competition as well, right?
Just so they can have a little bit of a buffer. Like, if one death is what makes them not time the 22, then this can take a really long time for them to time. Like, it might take a lot of attempts.
It's what we saw last MDI, so I guarantee you by the end of this week,
like, getting one perfect run is
attempts to be thrown at the 24. There's a very good chance we'll see that street
not easy
on 24. The question for me, like you're saying, is what is better for competition purposes for Miscount at this point, right? Because they're in a luxurious position at the top of the leaderboards where they don't really have to. They actually have choice.
Wow, Holy Method had to go again.
That's right.
Again.
The 24 streets is easier for them to time. We don't know. But since teams have already shown that the 22 Floodgate is possible with a clean run, maybe that's the better choice for them to go to and save the 24 streets for tomorrow so they don't have to show off anything special that they might have cooked up in that key.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. If I was them, I wouldn't want to let other teams see my hand too much. Right now, every single team that is in this competition is looking at Miscount and playing catch up, right? They're sitting at the top. Everybody else is looking at the dungeons they've done and planning out on how to get there. In the meantime,
Hey, Spingler. Nika?
Really decide what they want to do. As we mentioned, right now they're on break, so they'll be back in a little bit. And with that,
not sure what that means, but hello.
The fortuitous announcement to say that all of our teams have taken their breaks. No break penalties are going to be applied today.
That's good news. None of our teams are going to have to zone out of a dungeon after 25 minutes to make sure that they take their remaining break timer at the end of the day here, and no teams will be getting that -5-point penalty. You know, it's kind of a funny bit that we always talk about. It's never really happened before. We've only had one instance where it was potentially a problem for one team. But still, you know, like Dradnos was saying earlier, you know, you got to eat your vegetables. They got to take your break timers, and all of our teams have managed to do that. So, good to go. But again, Liquid on a good run here in the 22 Floodgate. 0 deaths heading up to the Demolition Duo. The first
yeah, but there's so many threats in this dungeon.
Clear level difficulty. If they're able to get through Big Mama with 0 deaths again, we really need to focus
They're just
back in on them.
1/3 through the dungeon with no deaths.
Either an insanely high DPS RNG run with a couple of mistakes, or just a near perfect run in order to time this key on 22 from what we just said.
These teams should lock in some arms wars to get things done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing they'll get done is get disqualified.
As well as they do
or not disqualified, but, you know, knocked out.
That is something to keep an eye on as this run continues. And in the meantime, all of our other teams are basically just resetting their dungeons over and over again. And if you're one of the teams like Holy Method, you are not too worried about that. If your identity, Auntie, or mandatory, you maybe are a little bit worried about that. So those teams really need to get these runs going just to have enough time left.
Okay, is that pull again for Holy Method? Can they get through this stupid pull that they are doing? Like, is every team doing this pull? Because 2 nights with sharpshooters, plus the Holy Radiance mini-boss, just sounds really absurd to me. But they keep trying this pull, and they keep dying exactly there.
Have a full dungeon run that starts right before overtime and then convert that into a point. But with the points that are left on the board right now, I almost feel like it's impossible. All of these dungeons are so tough.
Really have been. It's impressive to see the consistency from Liquid, though. This Demolition Duo split in about 5 seconds faster than their previous run, so they're accelerating in that key just a little bit. They need every second. If they were 5 seconds faster in the previous key, they would have timed it. So that's really important to see from them. Checking back in with Holy Method. This is the farthest we've seen this key all day today, and you can see just how difficult this pull is, even for the tank. And now to stay alive, getting the Iron Bark from Whippy there just to stay alive through the damage here. Clix and Gingy playing on the corner here to make sure they can line aside every disrupting shout, every single impale.
Now it's one more shield wall.
Divine Judgment, just AoE.
That's all.
Have to heal through from Whippy on Elena there, but it looks like for the time being they're good to go. Those Knights though make still incredibly healthy here.
Yeah, and we've seen those Knights throw hands quite literally. Many Abelis have been taking players out. Hopefully this time around, Holy Method able to get through here. AMZ has run out for them, so from here on out, they will need to utilize a lot of their defensives already on cooldown. So not a lot left.
Nice LOSing.
Shout gets line of sighted here by everybody that is able to. Of course, that does not apply to your melee DPS. He's, first of all, a DK. And second of all, just chilling, you know? He doesn't care. He's a DK.
Ascendance off cooldown for Clix and instantly pops it alongside his Trinket just to do as much damage as possible here. Finish off this pull so they can
Did they finally do it?
To the next pull as quickly as possible. Normally you'd see players on live try to just optimize their
A bit boring that they all play this close to the same comp. Some variety would be more interesting. Yeah, true. But it's, you know, it's expected that everyone will play the same comp. Like, even if they believe that a certain spec or comp or whatever is like 1% better, that's 1% better, they will play that.
Again, none of these have really
and even if a spec, even if they do believe that maybe one certain spec has the potential to be 1% better, maybe they're not practiced on playing that, or
it does. I mean, honestly,
maybe it doesn't have the same nice tools that the other specs have. The usual specs have. And then they won't play it. I don't know.
Good to see them come through that finally and make it out.
These guys can pick up basically any class though, any spec, and they'll be fine.
We are going to let you catch your breath for a little bit, and then we'll see you back for the end of day.
Bye.
Bye. And Teddle's coming on the desk here. I mean, Holy Method and Liquid are currently tied at 111 points with missed count.
Well, if the spec can do more DPS but more squishier, then they had to weigh the pros and cons then, right?
I think that
See if it's actually worth bringing them. Is there a way to bring them without making, you know, smaller pulls or whatever? Like, can you make bigger pulls because the other spec is tankier, or can you do trickier pulls? Like,
it looked like they had pretty good splits.
In Priory, there's a lot of unavoidable damage, for example. Can you survive those with a squishier spec? Same with Floodgate, lots of unavoidable damage.
Twitch stream actually does have splits enabled for a timed run of a 22 Floodgate, which is very promising.
And then it's like, do you swap specs for each dungeon as well, depending on if you can live them or not? It just becomes a bit too much. It's better to just like, for everyone to just get used to you playing the same spec and playing the same comp instead, just so you have the same tools. And you can min-max on that, you know, instead of confusing things by swapping all the time.
That they are not out of the woods yet, and I think for Holy Method there is a lot of problems still awaiting them in this Priory of the Sacred Flame.
Miscount, they are in the lead right now, India. They have 1 point more than the other two. Liquid and Holy Method are on 111 points. Those three teams used to be on a 3-way tie, but Miscount had a better tiebreaker anyway. And they just timed a... What did they time?
Yeah, miscount coming back from break.
23 Arakara, that's it.
They're going for the sweep.
They just timed a 23 Arakara. So that's how they got to their 112 score. And now they're trying to get the 22 Floodgate, just like Liquid is trying to.
Oh, actually, they got the Halls of Atonement. And I mean, miscount, they have looked lights out. How hard is this 22 floodgate? So far, the only two teams that have even put attempts into
Mr. Verb is good, for sure, for sure.
I mean, this might be a dungeon.
Who am I rooting for? I'm not really rooting for anyone at this point. Like, I never root for anyone. I just like to watch the competition and see what people come up with
if there's any
to eke out that extra key level.
Match another team in, even if they haven't put the practice on the key.
Or sometimes it's just a tiebreaker, which isn't as exciting. But I think it's more exciting to see how people figure out ways to time a key that is, you know, something that people thought was impossible. Professional spy, that's me.
Over into this key, they should have time to complete it. We'll see pretty quickly whether or not they have this practice based off the first few pulls. But again, I want to go back to what you were talking about with Liquid. The fact that Boomy has the splits on his stream. Not only that, they're 17 seconds ahead of their best attempt right now on Big Mama. So, like, they're looking incredibly good. It's important to mention as well, their Big Mama split last time around was like 1942. They look like they might be on pace for like a 1950.
Why are teams running Proto Warrior best DPS?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure Proto Warrior does the best DPS. I don't think they do, actually. I think it's Brewmaster, but Proto Warrior is just really solid. They are really tanky. They are basically immune to auto attacks at this point.
This dungeon does an insane amount of damage. At the same time,
they have their AoE interrupt, which is really helpful. They have decent CC as well. I mean, decent stops.
Now, this boss, Big Mama,
it's just a really sturdy tank. And it does buff the DK and Hunter. So I guess maybe, actually, that alone makes them better. Actually, it's probably a combination of everything. They don't die, yeah. Best all-rounder, yeah.
He does have Tranquility available.
He's got buttons, and the team does have defenses available if they need to.
Just MDI today so far? Yeah, correct.
Only a couple more ticks at that jumpstart are going to be going through. It looks like he's able to keep the team alive. But the question for me is, while swapping to all of those mobs, are they going to have to go through another jumpstart phase here? Tell us. It looks like they are. 40% on this boss on a 22. That's a lot of HP to chew through. I think they have to go full AoE here again.
This is why you have to have your Ascendants on pull, Zyro. And we, as Elemental Shaman enjoyers, look at this. The Dark Fuse Mechadrones come out, Boomy slams down his Ascendants, and his job is fairly simple. The DK and the Hunter, they do a lot less damage to these Mechadrones compared to that Elemental Shaman. Boomy's going to be like hard targeting these Mechadrones. Of course, the Earthquake's going to be cleaving everything, the Chain Lightning's going to be cleaving everything, but you have to be able to get these killed off in time. And ideally, these Mechadrones stay stacked, which is why Liquid is tanking this boss kind of in this corner and doing a great job of baiting those Doomstorms out.
Yeah, the important thing to look at here is every time one of those Sonic Boom goes off, you have to make sure that you get back with the group quickly so you get good baits on the Doomstorms. Wolf is going to do a fantastic job of getting right back in the group there so they can get good baits and keep everything nice and stacked for those Earthquakes, for the AoE damage from the other team. And look at this, Kill Block Barrier is up, but these Mechadrones are all sub 10%. As long as they continue to get good baits here, they'll be in a good spot. It looks like this phase is going to be a lot more clean than the previous one did.
I'm going to be honest, if we get a 445 Big Mama kill, we are in business. I don't know if the boss necessarily
dies decently fast.
So this is kind of the problem with just
Big
how
Mama.
much HP those Mechadrones have, is that you kind of need to commit all of your offensive CDs to those Mechadrones just being able to kill those off. Although, this lines up perfectly. Ashine and Wolf Disco have Call the Wild and Pillar of Frost to be able to dump damage
445.
Wow. What was the split that we had on Big Mama last time for Liquid whenever they barely depleted the key?
A minute slower. It was 1942. 1942.
Wow, they're way faster. What the hell?
19 on the Big Mama split. Liquid unfazed by the 3-second wipe in the previous attempt, going nearly a minute faster this time around. Unbelievable speed. If they can stay clean for the rest of this key, even 1 or 2 deaths.
Yeah, exactly, Rindio. That's how I feel about it.
On the second attempt.
Okay, so a 19-minute Big Mama, for conventional purposes, we would describe that as like a terrible split, right? But this is why Liquid are so good, because they actually play a very
people. I think I'm sure it's Ashine. They've said Ashine all the time in previous tournaments as well. So I assume that's the correct way.
If not, multiple of them. More often than not, especially at this 22 Keystone level, we only see one of them getting played. And now for Liquid, it's kind of a couple of questions. Where is their next Bloodlust going to be pressed? Where's their final Bloodlust going to be pressed? It looks like they're getting one more within the 33-minute timer. And then for Miscount, what do the route discrepancies look like? And who has the better route? Who has a faster route? Or is it maybe just a preference difference? Because I think that there's a chance that it's just a preference difference. and that both of these teams are going to end up running into similar times, in quotation marks, in this dungeon. And then it just kind of comes down to execution. Because the execution of this dungeon, that is by far the hardest part.
Are they pulling that into the boss?
Absolutely, man. Now, to answer your question of what they do with the Lust, in their previous...
Yeah, look at this. They have way more time.
It's a ridiculous healing encounter. They just wanted out of that boss. They slammed it at like 25% with a couple of cooldowns.
I think they were on like 23 minutes at this point.
These bosses are to heal through. Big Mama Zevi was sitting at about 6 million HPS the entire time.
Zevi just he did the box, and now he's melding the he's already on the bombs. Look at this. It's going to allow Liquid to start Swamp Face instant.
Yeah. That's what they did last time.
Going for maximum speed, giving themselves the most time possible. They do not want to miss out on the timed key on such a clean attempt once again. But the difficulty level will continue to be increased. Pulling divers on top of the boss gives another fail mechanic for the boss. You miss a harpoon cast, someone gets one shot. You walk into a bomb, someone gets one shot. You run too far apart from each other with the tethers, you pull your teammate into a bomb. They have to play this perfectly, and at the same time, this is the highest healing HPS encounter requirement of any boss in the game.
Resto Druid is also insanely good on this boss.
Was holding steady at 9 million HPS just to keep his team alive.
Yes, this
we love how they presented like it's a new tech, yeah.
Paladins, Restoration Shamans, Disc Priests, Holy Priests, Mistweaver Monks, reroll to Resto Druid. This is the boss, this is the heal check of the patch. Swamp Face just does an insane amount of pulsing AoE due to those Vine debuffs that are on all of the players. The Elemental Shaman and the Beast Mastery Hunter are probably the most susceptible of dying to this fight. Obviously the DK, he's a tank. He'll be totally fine. He can Death Strike. But Zevi's ability to be able to keep Boomy and Wolf Disco alive is going to be a huge test here.
He was able to do it before. We'll have to see if he's able to do it again. That Bloodlust is not anywhere near for the time being to help with the extra healing. Zevi takes a tick of the wave, but he's going to be the most safe from that. Self-healing, very powerful for them. And they're still getting good interrupts on these divers, so it's looking pretty good for Liquid so far.
Yeah, so you're talking about the interrupts on the Harpoon cast. Something that I did notice
as
well is Yips and Shine are
they move right.
Canceling the Sephorium bombs casts. Because those bombs, whenever they get planted here, it's actually just so obnoxious. They blow up in a radius that's slightly larger than their circle.
Who moves right?
Ton every single time they get planted. But if you end up throwing some stops on them, like the Thunderstorm or the Shockwave, or you just end up gripping them, it's actually a pretty big deal. Right here for Liquid, the last 3 divers are going to be going down. We do have to grab the other 3, correct?
I believe so. I think we're going to be pulling those 3, but they have the luxury of waiting to pull those until they get their cooldowns plus Bloodlust up.
No way. That's crazy behavior.
They're through the hardest part of Swamp Face. I mean, I think that the very beginning, probably like the second to third one of those AoE casts, whenever players start to run out of their defensive cooldowns, is where things become a little bit more hectic. For Holy Method here, they are
what the hell is this? How do they have sharpshooters on Baron?
In this 22 prior to the Sacred Flame, 2 other teams have timed it with Liquid and Miscount actually being able to
moving right reduces clock time. Okay. They're rewinding time, huh?
They are through that double night pull that has caused them so many problems, and now they have actually made it through that Purifier, through that light spawn with that purification beam cast, and they actually killed off the priest. And
again, I haven't seen this being done,
for Holy Method on a flawless run.
But it makes sense. Baron Brown Pack, he doesn't do that much stuff, so finding a way to pull trash onto him is probably a good thing.
Holy spell on the boss there to make sure they have that DR for the AoE pulses. Just making sure they're getting maximum defensive value out of everyone's toolkit. We're looking for what, about a sub-21 split on Baron Braunpike here in order to be okay for the timer for Holy Method?
Yeah, I think a sub-21 is pretty good. Ooh, and for Miscount here, looking at this, a sub-10 on Demolition Duo. Looking absolutely fantastic.
What's the split for Liquid?
Deviations are. I mean, Liquid
944. Okay. Similar.
So far. They had a 945 on Demolition Duo, so both of the teams very similar splits on Demolition Duo. Where do those route divergences actually kind of show up? And which one is going to be more effective is an interesting question. Now, we do see that Bloodlust. You called out earlier that they ended up lusting late on Swamp Face here. These divers and Swamp Face.
So they will have 8 minutes left to do that one big pull, and then in this skip. They have enough time. They're so safe here, unless they fail in the next part.
Oh yeah, 15 seconds faster on Demolition Duo, almost a minute faster on Big Mama, and we're almost a minute faster still on.
I don't expect Warrior to feel good to play on the beta, which is why I'm not really rushing in to play it either, because like I just don't have the motivation to be playing a spec that doesn't feel good, and also all of the annoying stuff with the UI and having to set up the UI as well. It's just like a little bit too many walls for me to
this time around. They just need to keep this clean, and this is demonic difficulty, right?
to deal with before I can actually play the game, and even when I do get to play the game, it might not even be that fun. So it's just like, I don't have that much of a motivation to play the beta right now.
They've set this up. So basically, what is implied here by the way that Liquid is pulling is that those jump starters are do not pull mobs. It kind of the AOE cast.
I expect the arms rotation to feel better, but
those are things
it'll feel flat because the damage is low, I guess.
With their play here, those are the things that they are the most worried about here, to the point where they would rather double up this trash pack. I actually think that the way that they are playing this is very aggressive, but in a way that is a huge time save. Now, something that happened in Liquid in both the 21 and the 20 is they failed to skip on those jump starter mobs. It looked like Wolf Disco ended up getting meleeed to death. Maybe there was some disengage at the wrong angle. Something happened with the turtle potentially. Those things are problems that you're going to have to be worrying about. But like you said, this aggressive chain into this double electrician, they're not out of the thick of it. I mean, Yips is actually in a lot of danger here.
The thick of it.
Getting stacks from the soldiers. And at the same time, Zevi has to commit all of his dispels to the electrician dots that get put onto players. Otherwise, they get stunned. That's why you see all the dwarfs are on cooldown for Liquid here, even including Yips's. Like, everybody's pressing their dwarf.
We have 6 minutes left.
To keep themselves alive. And
the timer is so free.
Meanwhile, there's 4 Dark Fuse Inspectors hopping around trying to slash players with their frontals, but Liquid's making good use of it. They're actually walking together as a team to make sure they get good baits on all of these surprise inspections. This poll's going down incredibly quickly. Last time around, Tettles, they started this skip past the jump starter at almost exactly
like
the 5-minute mark.
450, I think it was.
Start this poll and get this skip done at like 5:15, they are in the clear, but it's going to be so
they literally
much
copy-pasted the same run, but faster.
Oh my god, the pace is insane.
Bubbles has been removed from
Just
the dungeon.
don't fail the skip,
this skip is
and they have this, I feel like.
Bubbles skip in terms of like from a technical perspective. They are doing something it should be relatively easy. We did this a little bit last season with Mind Soothe whenever Priest was meta, where you end up walking past these electricians, except this time Wolf Disco's walking forward first. He's going to be able to feign death off the electricians to make sure that jump starter doesn't get pulled. Now he is the player that is pulling these pack to the side. He's sitting inside that turtle, and everybody has to get through as fast as possible. You only want 2 ticks of the jump starter AoE on the group, otherwise people are going to die. Wolf Disco gets a great feign death.
Amazing.
Here, and this is looking
That's
phenomenal
it.
for Liquid.
5 minutes. They have it.
For Giesel Gigazap, if they're able to go deathless here, if they're able to play as clean as they have for the first 30 minutes of this dungeon, they should be timing this place. And for mandatory, oh my god, a catastrophe.
Wait.
27 minutes into the Aura. What happened? We've seen
Were they on the boss?
Tank deaths on this boss across the weekend. Was it another one of those tank deaths?
Hopefully we'll get a replay of it, but that is just another full wipe. In a weekend full of mistakes for mandatory, this team was a juggernaut coming into the competition, but they just aren't.
Yeah, they were in the boss with 5 minutes remaining. Yeah, they would have had enough time.
In the replay here, we have
they would have had enough time, but then they weren't.
Is this going to be a Cosmic Singularity overlap, or is it just going to be a missed kick on a Venom volley? Do you see debuff stacking up on Skylark?
Yeah.
No, they failed the kick.
It's a Venom volley.
Oh my god, we had a Venom volley go off? Of all the things to wipe to, we let a cast go off? That it has to be... Oh my gosh, that is so tilting for mandatory.
Oh my god, in just 25 minutes of the competition gone just like that for a team, again, that was supposed to be one of the top 3 teams.
There's just 2 of those casters, I believe, in that pool. You can have 2 people on both of them.
Anti-clockwise and identity.
That's crazy, yeah.
Going home today. Meanwhile, though, looking at the runs that we have here, Liquid, we were talking about this run for them. They had 5 minutes and change to deal with Eagle Gigazap. It took them about 4.5 minutes last time around with relatively mid RNG on the Hunter damage. And looking at miscounts,
Those kicks are mandatory. I see what you did there.
There's a big difference for Liquid this time here. They have 2 Ascendances on this boss. Last time, Boomy was only going to be able to get 1 Ascendance. I think that their cooldown timing with the way that they've been playing here affords them the opportunity to be able to kill this boss much quicker, just in terms of overall, relative to the timers. They're going to be totally fine. For miscount here, I mean, this is a very long boss. We saw a Big Mama. It ended up being around the 5-minute marker, 4:45, 5-ish minutes. And now we're going to have to start seeing where those route discrepancies are for miscount. What is their swamp face split going to look like? We typically want to budget.
Look at this last boss for Liquid is melting.
Swamp face with a very standard route, which is kind of what miscount
Insane,
has been
dude.
so far. Kind of
Skypan, thank you for the prime sub. Appreciate that.
Whereas, you see Liquid here coming off Big Mom at like 19 minutes, and you're like, well, there's some weird stuff going on with their route.
It's a great route, though. It's working out for them great. Looking in, I want to check back with that identity, because this is the best run we've seen them on in that Halls of Atonement. They've wiped so many times to every single one of the Shard of Halkias so far, and this might be the first time we've ever seen them kill Halkias, so they might finally be on a kill run here, but there's still so many difficult pulls remaining in the dungeon for them, Tettles.
I mean, if they're able to time this and go all the way up to 100,
is that spell damage, the tank smash?
Mandatory there, who we saw
He used spell effect there.
very narrowly deplete.
I thought it was physical damage.
So for identity here, they need to be able to get these +1s.
Yeah, I don't know why we're main screening this Halls of Atonement. Bro, why we replaying this? Like, this is the most normal warrior tech. You just Berserker Rage and walk out.
They weren't able to clutch up like
It does get reduced by reflect. Okay.
But if they're able to finally time this dungeon, they're putting themselves in a position where they're going to be potentially going to time tiebreakers against mandatory, which would be a huge deal. Now there is still 55 minutes remaining in the rest of the day. But, for identity, if they're able to time this and then go, say, throw some attempts at the Arakara, they could put themselves in a good position.
It's a decent prize money in this tournament. I think there is pretty decent prize money, right? Oh, healer just died. Okay.
In the key, and we instantly see Tien die to the ankle bite right away. Swap back. Yes, we do see Liquid. We'll swap back to them in just a moment here. But Tien going down is horrible for identity. He has to struggle to pop the team. Instantly barks himself.
And he's dead again.
Rest again. Alive, but he dies again to the ankle bites. As they pull in more ankle biters, he gets the battle res again.
Is the healer's ankles okay? He lost both his ankles.
I don't know if he's going to be able to catch back up. I mean, you saw he lost the lust. He tried to iron bark himself and then shrank the entire group back to full. The problem is that you start to fall behind on hots on the rest of the group, and you lose all those pre-existing hots on yourself because of how the Restoration Druid heals. They have to be very, they have to have a lot of forethought in terms of how they're able to heal that. I mean, if Identity are able to get through that pull without wiping, that is a huge deal, but also an equally big deal. Actually,
they did it 35 seconds. 35 seconds left. Holy crap, they could have had a death and it still would have been fine.
They are going to be taking that second world record in both the Priority of Sacred Flame and now that Operation Floodgate. Where do they go next? It's probably that Hall.
Miscount is also really fast though.
Unbelievable poise from Liquid after a heartbreaking wipe in the first long attempt, able to instantly go back in one shot it on the next attempt.
I don't tend to sim Dungeon Slice. I don't think it's a reliable tool.
No headroom in that key.
They died.
The very next pull.
It's over. It's so over. Okay.
The damage of the Reavers there. It's just Tien being so far behind after those deaths and having literally nothing left for the team there. It's so unfortunate to see. But Identity, I mean, they've been making progress on that key for a long time now, and it's good to see.
Or mandatory as well, though. Are they tilted or what? Because, like, missing those kicks at the very end, when they kind of had the dungeon. Oh, wait. Holy Method is doing it. After wiping for, like, forever on that mini-boss pull just before the first boss.
And I think it just kind of proves
they're finally killing this dungeon. So they're gonna be tied for points with Miscount. But Miscount might just be about to time a 22 Floodgate, which means Holy Method also needs to try and get a 22 Floodgate, I think.
That world record tag, but they're finally going to be able to go all the way up to that 112th point, which is a big deal.
Why are they missing count?
Yeah, it's like all of our teams.
They're missing. They're missing point 42.
In short succession, we see Miscount time the 23 Arakara, Liquid go for the 22 Floodgate, and Holy Method.
Yeah, true. Vindio, true.
Potentially getting the Priory down. The timer is there.
Is it this Risen Mage?
It's not quite over just yet. They do have this Mage on top of the boss.
All right.
One kick goes off, could take out a player and cause some issues. The Blinding Lights is still very dangerous, especially with the pulsing damage from the boss on this key level, but they have all the time in the world. The deal with the remainder of this boss, and they have 2 battle reses in the back pocket. This is incredibly impressive from Holy Method. This team, again, they spent several attempts yesterday wiping in this key. 8 attempts today, none of which even got to the first boss. The first time they get past that double knight pull, they get all the way to the final boss.
He kept count? 8 attempts today?
Back on the board.
I mean, people start to count them out. People start to doubt. But something that is always true with them, they are inevitable. I mean, going to be able to put up that 112th point, and now we are going to have 3 teams running for that 113th point in different dungeons, where Holy Method and Miscount are going to be that floodgate.
Secret tech, they'll bring it to floodgate.
Atonement to be able to claim that 113th point, and there's a chance that we have all 3 teams at 113 points at the end of the day.
For the most part, I do single target sims, beyond screen.
I would have answered most certainly no.
With my AoE setup, and I also like change maybe some trinkets around. Compare my single target trinkets with AoE trinkets. Like, if the AoE trinkets aren't too far behind the single target trinkets, then obviously this AoE trinkets are going to be better for AoE. Right.
It's not going to be a world record.
And
Liquid still
in
gonna
general.
hold on to that.
Scoreboard.
Either way,
And I
Holy
might
Method
mix in like some
has them up
AoE
on the
sims, but
scoreboard, and they are all tied
for the
on
most part, it's just
112.
single target.
Meanwhile, that's not the only part of the
Miscount
competition
with
that we need
death.
to worry about. We do need to
Miscount
talk about
2
the other
deaths?
side of the competition. We did have a death from Miscount there, but on the Shaman, he's able to onk and get back. And also the nice thing, okay, no, he onked right before the tethers went out.
The timer isn't as good
Still
now.
Be able to run around. The bottom of our competition is the important part of the day.
Is it enough?
Remember, at the end of the competition, we're sending 2 of these 6 teams homes, and one of those teams that's on the verge of elimination right now is Anti-Clockwise, who have been working on this 21 floodgate for a long while now, but it looks like they will finally be putting this +1 on the board.
And I mean, for them, it's felt like they more or less started to been like they were big underdogs coming in today, and they fell behind a lot with the depletion of the 21 floodgate. They had some problems like pretty early on in streets as well, and we do have 50 minutes left. They're going to need a perfect end of day if they're going to be looking to qualify. I think that their biggest competition for making it to that final day is between mandatory and identity. It feels like those are kind of the bottom 3 teams, the most likely candidates to not make it to that final day.
If you told me
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
would be one of the teams on the verge of elimination, I would have called you crazy, but it's looking like that's the case right now. They do have a 1-point advantage over both Identity and Anti-Clockwise right now, but Anti-Clockwise has a couple of keys from yesterday they can head back to and get a relative
Holy Method is
and they have a good timer
a whole minute
remember,
slower than Miscount in the tiebreaker.
We saw Liquid and then Holy Method rip that world record away, so we know the 23 is possible for them. It's just a matter of whether or not they have enough time left in the day to do it.
Yeah, it's probably.
So if this boss dies at the 25-minute mark,
you do see the loading screen for that Halls.
No, it's not going to be 25. Maybe 25:30.
And so, that is going to be a.
They have 7.5 minutes left.
I think that they tend to favor the Havoc Demon Hunter.
I believe that's enough time to pull off that big pull, and then do the skip, and then do the last boss.
Like Nezro tends to want to play that Havoc a bit more than the Elemental Shaman.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a comfort thing. Now, as we see on screen here, Miscount, they are going to try to rebuttal against Liquid's 22 Operation Floodgate. Whenever we saw Liquid earlier in the Operation Floodgate, they timed that dungeon by, 30 seconds?
Wait, Miscount is also going right.
Miscount here, while Liquid was deathless and timed it by 30 seconds, have had 2 deaths.
Is that the sign of a top team? They go right?
I am very concerned about their timer. Now,
Have I got a
for couple of
YouTube bot
different
to
reasons.
compare
Number one,
timer with?
difference in routing here at the end of the dungeon is
I can do it on Twitch as well. I can read one on Twitch too.
that bloodlust. They
But
have
here
to
we are,
do this because
24,
their route
41.
includes the jump starter pull, and they need
So
the
they
bloodlust
are,
to live through that mob. So the split on Swamp Face is going to be that.
It is gonna be
much
tight.
for that saved cooldown.
Because
They're running out of time,
now,
though. This Swamp Face split is going to be
well,
about
it's within
15
20
slower
seconds.
so than what we saw from Liquid, and they have to
Within
keep
20
doing it.
seconds.
They
So
do
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
I think
Can
they
they
do
do it?
+1 pull. I mean, you're talking about doing an extra jump start. I think they do like an additional pull. Now, there is speed in the sense that
More damage going
you have
right
to
is
do a lot
obvious.
less
Uh-huh,
downtime, there's
uh-huh.
a lot less setup shenanigans, but I mean, I think that
It's gonna be really close, but it's doable.
Side of the timer here. This is going to be unbelievably close for Miscount. But if there's a narrative point that we always hit on with Miscount, they have
What are they waiting for? Go.
unspeakable amounts of damage and absolute nonsense amounts of chaining coming out of their main tank, their leader, Kira on that warrior, and we're gonna have to see if Miscount.
Oh, they're just gonna
meet this
fight
check.
here. They're not moving on.
Exact
Oh no,
timing
they are
of
gonna
the
slowly
Swamp Face
kite
split missed count about
towards the next
3
pack.
seconds slower on the boss split, but they did save the bloodlust. difference.
Oh, they
in
still have
areas
lust.
to travel.
Oh, I didn't
Both
notice
of
that.
The teams are doing something similar.
Okay, that's a big deal.
Going to kill off the 2 electricians in this pull and then aggressively chain all the way to the
Can
top.
Fury push at this
Liquid
level?
only had to chain to those 2 electricians you can see working on the
Close.
wall there, right behind
I don't think they can do
Arctic,
the
whereas Discount has
world
to chain
record
them
keys.
quite a bit further. You can see as those
Like
electricians are
the
dropping lower and lower,
basically
positioning to
all
move
of these
forward
keys
as quickly
minus
as
1.
possible. We just gotta go. We gotta get. There's no more time
All of
left
these
for
world
this
records
keep
minus
because
1.
They need to get
Probably.
onto Kiesel Gigazap with about 4 minutes 45 left in the key to be safe, and they have to do an entire jump starter plus 2 more electricians here.
Wait, they had to do the jump starter?
Bloodlust for it, but the timer is starting to look more and more
Oh,
I really
that's
like how it
scary.
breaks down the mobs that are
All right,
limiting
it's
their
not
ability
it's
to
not the
deliver
same.
next
It's not the
turn.
same.
And those mobs tend to be those electricians. And like you said, here is that bloodlust. Heartjax does not actually have his.
Yeah, that's it,
Randy.
Randy, yeah.
Is dropping so low. The soldiers end up connecting on him, and then they ended up stacking up that buff wall. He gets walloped by the jump starter. A well-timed iron bark by AJ just allows him to be able to survive on the precipice of death. He doesn't have that battle scar veteran, and this is the.
This
mob
is
that was
melting.
all in on
Wait,
skipping.
wait. They
That's
have
the
this.
reason, because Miscount, they're also not super fans of this jump starter. They end up having to press their bloodlust, and Kira still is about to die.
DRE!
Oh my gosh, we're getting insane DRE procs from Heartjax, not even having that Ascendance available, and he's still out DPSing Verb. They're doing a good job of binding shotting the mobs. They're making sure that they're getting stunned with Capacitor Totem. We saw some Earthquakes, some Implosive Traps.
Wow.
Great
Yeah, I know they
CC,
lost to
great
this
intel
pack,
out of
but
Miscount.
holy crap, that
The
big guy,
surprise inspection, the
Jump
inspectors
starter
get
got
stacked up because
deleted.
Those mobs have so much more HP than the rest of the pack, and now Miscount just have to kill off these inspectors, and then they're able to
they'll
move into
start
Kiesel
the
Gigazap
boss-
room, and it looks like
boss
they might have enough time here, Zyro. Heartjax
combat
is gonna get
will
2
start at
ascendances on the boss.
4:45-ish.
That's true, but these mobs
That's
are gonna
so
take
fast.
forever to kill with no cooldowns being
No.
rocked. Since the jump starter was dead, we've lost 30 seconds of the key here, and we still have to pull off the skip. I said I think they need
Yeah, they
about
have enough
4
time.
minutes
4:45.
45. By the time they engage the boss, they still have to pull off the skip here. Team wasting no time. Windrush and Roar being used. But look, each tick
Oh
from
my
the jump
gosh.
starter doing 70% of the team's HP. If they take a second tick, they would all die off here. The skip has been done. What time are we engaging the boss in? The team is trying to recuperate to gain
Yeah,
health.
4:50.
They're
They
gonna
have
be
enough time.
engaging the
This is
boss
timed.
with
This
4
is timed, as long as they don't die.
minutes left on the dungeon timer.
They even have
And
Ascendance at
any
start.
Mistake, a single death, bad RNG of DPS could result in a depleted key.
Yeah, this is time. This is time. Even with the worst RNG, I feel like this is time. As long as they don't die.
It looks like they might be 20 seconds under here if they have perfect DPS, if they play the exact same as Liquid did. Can we get some ones in chat if you think they're going to time this, and twos if you think that they're going to have a narrow deplete? It really could go either way. Any mistake, any death, anything that could go wrong, that's going to cost Miscount the
We're
run.
not
And right
casters?
off the
Yeah,
bat,
exactly,
we actually have
exactly.
very good RNG.
I would be the
We're
worst
doing a great
caster. I
job
could
staying
not.
as far as
I
possible
could not.
Kiesel Gigazap, forcing the first target of that
I cannot do
capacity to
that,
be on him.
you know.
He's able to turtle it, which means that neither of those debuffs go on him or Hearthjax, allowing AJ to be able to commit a lot more damage. And look at AJ's damage. A lot of Resto Druids, you're not able to catweave on this fight. That Gigazap dot, it hits way too hard. At the same time, AJ was aggressively trying to get in there whenever the group wasn't taking damage to try to get up some of his dots. His Moonfire, his Sunfire, his Rake, his Rip, all of his potential.
Oh,
dots,
really?
and
Randy,
just
sick.
be able to increase the timer or decrease the timer that it takes to kill off this boss.
It's going to be a tight DPS race to the finish. Liquid, meanwhile, have moved on to the 23 Halls of Atonement like you're talking about.
Exactly,
Relatively
Vito.
for the time being, the
Exactly.
First mistake of the run for them. A single Wicked Bolt cast going off will instantly one-shot.
Mute the Blizzard stream and take over casting for a few minutes.
Holy Method have decided to try to go for the 22.
Me casting would literally just be silence.
Have cost so many
Like,
problems for them.
Yeah, I mean, they
I probably
were
wouldn't
shaking.
change anything
I mean,
from
I
what
think
I'm doing
that's
now.
describing in Floodgate
Like,
earlier today.
talking about random
They
things that I
played
see
on 20, they're like, you know what,
and like
let's go do
talking to you
something-
guys.
Let's go to the slightly easier dungeon. And you have to kind of question whether or not that was a Liquid and missed count only special, because we saw Yips talking about in the pre-interview today that they thought
They
that
definitely should go.
+1,
Wait, what the?
watching it play out, it was probably the
Did he
Operation
just-
Floodgate, that
what?
dungeon is Psycho.
Why is
you
he-
see on the right side of the
Oh,
screen,
he just keeps
Liquid is
crossing
out.
over
They're
the
50%
beam.
HP on
Why are
Kiesel
they
Gigazap.
tanking in that
They were able to
position?
match Liquid's point in there.
It's
I
looking
don't
good
see
for them so far. They've been
a
on the
world
good
where it's
side of
correct to
RNG
tank in that
here.
position.
Ellie Shaman not being at the bottom is usually a good sign. It means they've been getting good procs. Looks like it's going well for Miscount so far, but everything can be over
Bro,
very
Yargi is
soon
doing
here. One bad
7.5.
overlap is insane. Dude, I don't understand how Yargi just continues to do more damage even on just pure single target than every other hunter. He just seems to have, like, I don't know. the whisper, the touch, in order to get all of the procs during his cooldowns. Looks like it's going to be
Help to
no
get a
turtle
job.
available for the zap there. Will be available for the next round of them, though.
Is that
AJ
like-
doing a good job healing, even committing the Iron Bark to him.
It's not Nav, is it? It's something else.
AJ going to have a
From the sounds of it.
mana near the end of the encounter. He's sitting on about 25% here.
Fake resource for healers.
Okay, all right. Gotcha.
Some seasons it's real. This iteration of Western.
Yargi very good at pressing kill command. And Dark Arrow.
Deal.
I mean, Yargi is just doing so much damage. You typically see DPS doing like 5.5 million whenever they have Bloodlust. And somehow Yargi's out here doing 6.5 million without Bloodlust. Like, what is actually going on?
It's actually crazy, yeah. There's so much single target damage.
And he just goes from 6.2 million all the way up to 7 million DPS. What is happening?
This is the result of Giga sandbagging.
It's Yargi Day.
And hiding the APO.
For miscount. We thought they'd need 4.5 minutes to deal with this boss. Turns out when you've got this guy on your team, you need significantly less than that.
Dobby's back.
Left on the dungeon timer here in Giesel
there's a second
is
turtle.
already below 15%. The second turtle prevents the debuffs from going out on the team, which means AJ gets to sit in cat form a little bit longer and do just a little more damage to the boss. One final combo is going to be used by Giesel Gigazap to try.
Are they going to be
take
faster
out
than?
one last
Nah,
set of debuffs into a
they-
turbocharge, but I don't think it's
with
going to
2
be
deaths, they're going to be
Once again,
faster than
Yargi has the Call of the
Liquid.
Wild available to send this boss home, and Missed Count will be putting the second 22 Floodgate on the board. Will they be able to steal away the world record from Liquid?
no.
I think they're going to be a little bit short of that, but still an incredible.
That was really close. With 2 deaths, they were basically the same.
Run on the board.
That's
Without the
crazy.
death settles, they
I mean,
would have potentially taken that world record, though.
Okay, now there's a question. What do you do if you're missed count? You already hit all the +1s. Is there something egregious that you could do, like a
24 Streets?
Streets of Wonder? Do you go back and rerun that Priory of the Sacred Flame for timer? I mean, Zyro, we could go for the full sweep here if we're missed count.
They have to. If there's ever a time to do it, it's now. If we don't see missed count going into streets,
Bro, they keep dying.
Keep an eye on the top right of the scoreboard.
Okay.
Where are we going? Where is that green dot going to land? Missed count holds 2 of the world.
Oh, Holy
records.
Method is also doing the floodgate now.
We think is capped out. Priory we think is capped out. Arakara maybe.
I don't think there's any hope for Arakara. I think they have to go 24.
Timer. I mean, yeah.
This has to be for timer, right?
What?
They're
Yeah.
not doing. Oh, never mind. We're out of here. We're going. Verb's going somewhere
Oh.
else. Well, actually, hold on.
Okay.
Might be getting on a different death night. An elf, perhaps.
What is the play if you're in their position? Like, what do you do if you're a team?
I think 24 Streets.
40 minutes left in the day.
Wasn't it miscounted? Like they really
What if
stupidly
you do
fast.
it? You show
Yeah,
off that it's
it was.
equal to every other team. Is it
Come on, show us the 24 Streets.
There's
just
no
not
strat
do it
hiding.
for
We're in the
tomorrow?
quarterfinals. There's no more.
You think
strat.
so?
Yes. Do not hide any strats. Okay. We locked down the tournament realms. Locked down in between the day. If you have even route deviations, it's really hard to actually come back the next day and try to copy those routes. And it's one of those things that, like, you do not hold any strats back for the final day. You have to basically just put all your cards on the table.
Is this a replay? Oh no.
I think
Wait, what?
you're right, but again, so many times throughout the years, we've seen teams show off something.
Oh,
and
previously it was a
Lions
replay.
Over on Holy Method,
Alright.
we're like, oh, yeah, we can do that.
Oh.
And then they show it off, and then they do it better the next
They
time.
just keep dying to ankle biters.
Fortunately
Crazy.
For Identity, more issues on the ankle biter pull for them as their DK goes down. Didn't lose his cooldowns for it, but still, big damage loss here. Had to release and run back to the group, still mounted up as he runs through those turn to stone.
He's getting his ankles bitten.
Please,
Okay.
Not able to work and ties to the ankle biters again. One heal, please. TN, please. Help.
This is what
He had
happens
3
when you lose
stacks
all
of
your
ankle
hots
bites.
even the Death Knight could be susceptible to death if you lose your hots. Liquid on the exact same pull here, pressing that Bloodlust. They are doing something that's a little bit different than all the rest of the teams. They're actually running that Elemental Shaman in here. A play that I speculate is for one simple reason. The Elemental Shaman, while slower than the Happy Demon Hunter, should be a lot tankier to the very dangerous mechanics, whether it be the Ankle Biter Dot, whether it be the Hurl Glaive cast, whether it be
Probably
the
a good idea to lock in an arms way
and
for
we see
24
there
Streets.
Zevi going down to that
For the
ankle biter.
fantastic single
Nice
target
little
damage.
force But he does end up getting battle res. There's 2 deaths on the board for Liquid. Is Zevi?
I mean,
Are they
relatively
able to recover
speaking,
from
if
this?
the
One
arms
second
wary
answer
went
is
full
yes,
single
and
target
it's
build
going
with
for
no
an aggressive
AoE,
chain similar
it
to what
probably
some of
would
the other
be-
teams that have timed this dungeon on a 23.
Yeah, you just have to, right? This is the strategy. Even though you have no battle reses, you have to go for this.
Pretty good at single target.
Yes, Yips is going to be in danger.
Absolutely trash on everything else, but you know.
Way up to echelon here. They need to be able to run past that the second it turns to stone so they don't aggro it, and that is the play exactly. They skip those 2 obliterators in the corner, though, which is something we see most teams actually pull in. So I wonder if that's going to be a problem for them count-wise later, if they have something else figured out. Knowing Liquid, they probably got something else figured out. But we're already in.
Did Liquid just one-shot
going back to the point you were making,
the Halls 23?
100% agree. The physical DR,
like getting to this point.
Havoc Demon Hunter is insane. The fact that you're mail instead of leather,
Wield
already really good.
Poor anti-clockwise. I've been stuck in here for like forever. And Liquid walks in here and one-shots the dungeon.
Like 35% physical DR, which against those shoots, against those glaives,
possibly
is massive. Unfortunate
at least
there on the Stone Fiends.
Liquid has gotten much further than anti-clockwise
really want that to go on
already on their first attempt.
Or, you know, in theory, Zevi
Oh, Boomy died.
going in first,
Shattered
so
dot.
they can actually mill
Oh,
that
that's
off to make
very
that short
painful.
link
Yeah.
pass. Boomy going down to that dot. Ooh, Identity having a full wipe. If things go from bad to worse to them, I mean, dude, this Halls of Atonement is just absolute
Oh no, not identities. Sorry, not anti-clockwise. Identity. Identity. What's the team I was thinking of?
This dungeon. I think it just kind of proves the point of
Boomy only joined this expansion. Yes, I believe that's right.
competition has been so far, where the best team from China has been.
He started as a warrior in War Within Season 1.
2 and 3
Correct?
shotting this place.
Yeah, or even just one-shotting it if you're Miscount, which was, again, ridiculously impressive. This might find
Identity clearly goes left in flood.
Several MDI competitions now. It feels like it's been a couple of years. This is the best they've ever looked. Meanwhile, though, Liquid on a fantastic run. This would tie them points-wise and dungeon-wise with Miscount. Problem here for Boomy, though, is he gets yet another turn to stone cast on him. Gets the Iron Barks him from 7 to try to stay alive through it. Needs all the healing he can get.
Oh.
They've got nothing left. He already used
He
the
died
arm.
again.
They have no battle res here.
Oh,
This
it's
might be
Jover.
the end of the key for them. And yeah, they wipe it. It's over. Gotta go again.
So, while I did talk about the Demon Hunter being less durable, I do think they would be more durable versus exactly that, which was, what was that exactly? It was terrible RNG is how I would describe it, where your Elemental Shaman getting selected with a turn to stone over and over again.
Yeah,
they run out of cooldown.
that is crazy.
Their wall is incredibly powerful, 45% DR, 1.5 minute cooldown. Most situations, it's suitable. If you're getting chain selected versus huge hits, not going to be great. It's funny, the Elemental Shaman I don't think is a very weak defensive character. It's certainly weak compared to this Beast Mastery Hunter and this Death Knight, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy world where you're in, where a 45% DR isn't enough to live through an ability, but
He probably didn't have it there.
that is the case.
I mean, he got an Iron Bark there, yeah.
He had to use it on one of the two that he got, right? And the fact that it wasn't enough to live through either one of them, whichever one he did end up using it on, is pretty crazy. Unfortunately, they're going to have to reset. Anti-clockwise, the call for them is the Halls of Atonement, and they need to time this key to put some pressure on man.
Oh yeah, miscount.
Try to qualify through.
They are just going for a better timer in Priory.
End of the day today, we're sending our lowest 2 scoring teams home. And right now, those 2 teams are Identity and Anti-Clockwise on 109 points. Mandatory, though, just out of reach. They're not by any means.
Does that leave 3 teams tomorrow? I wonder what kind of view we get tomorrow with 3 teams.
Though, I mean, they're gonna have a good split on Avanax.
I guess it'll be like this, and maybe they'll constantly have like splits or something, or scores on one of the remaining screens.
But you know, it's just like things go from bad to worse at the worst possible.
I don't think anyone's done a 24 on retail yet, and I really believe that 24 streets is doable. Someone will probably go for it tomorrow, or maybe today. But I feel like it'll be tomorrow at this point. Because like, most of these keys are maxed. They could redo them for time if they feel like they can't get another score. Obviously, one more dungeon will be unlocked tomorrow, so they'll all push that one up. But once that is done, you know, it's not going to take the whole night, usually. They're going to have to decide whether they go for better time breakers or try to push one extra key.
Timers that are unmatchable by the other teams, and you end up ever going to time tiebreakers, you're going to win off of that.
Yeah, either way, this is putting an insane amount of pressure on the other teams, like you mentioned.
Yes.
It's forcing them to essentially say, okay, your timers are too fast for us. We have to find a +1, and we can't actually end up spending any time trying to improve our timers because our only way to win
No, miscount actually wiped.
So
they had to go again.
Smart play.
I would describe it as if
And
this
Holy
round,
Method, they had to
especially
reset their
where it goes to
floodgates.
time
Something went
tiebreakers
wrong.
back, is like if they had 113.5 points, where you know if you get to 113 points, you are just going to be worse in terms of time tiebreakers. And that's kind of the way that you have to view it, is that it's like, it's not a full keystone level, and there's other tiebreaker criteria. Maybe it's like 0.3, 113.3 or something like that. But it still is an advantage to them to have that time to be able to rerun for time tiebreakers. Now that's assuming that they're able to convert this Priority of the Sacred Flame on a 22, improve their timer, or to go to other dungeons and improve their timers.
Now, of course, the problem is, if they do have a 24 street in the bag, they're wasting 40 minutes of their competition not putting attempts into that key. If they could do it, I would
22 world record means no? Yeah, true. I mean, 22 world record, Floodgate is definitely a world record, right? Floodgate is really, really hard. Priory is really, really hard for its level as well, so 22 should be the max for those two dungeons. The only dungeon I can see right now that they can do out of the current pool on 24 would be Streets. Was 24 Gambit already done? I think it was done, right? In the previous week.
If you have 24 streets, you would be in there right now if you're missed count. You would not be rerunning for time tiebreaker. That just because 24 streets, I don't even know what the consistency of that would be like, but you would not even feel good with, you would probably not feel good with 5 hours of gameplay tomorrow, on top of the fact that we have another dungeon that's yet to be revealed.
Well, I mean, thinking about it a little more deeply, right? The main difficulty of Streets...
Oh, I see a piercing howl, I think.
6.5 minutes or so.
Nice.
So it's like it's not that big of a deal.
So you found a point for piercing howl.
Wipe on the first boss a bunch of times, right? So
oh, and he's dead.
Okay with it. What's not okay is anti-clockwise with 30 minutes left in the day, continuing to wipe in a key
that was a
the competition.
What's it called?
Yeah, I mean a bit brutal. It feels like
a beast caller, whatever his name is. The cast went through. The
if mandatory
Gargons were enraged.
And get all the way up to 111 points, I'm pretty sure that boxes out the final two teams. But that is a major if. We are currently.
Well, that's pretty cool. They pulled 2 extra guys from the right.
Setting themselves up for a very close end of day as to who are the two.
That's a DK thing only.
Going to get eliminated right now. It looks like it's mostly going to be between anti-clockwise and identity. That seems like the most likely situation. But mandatory are not out of it yet.
They are not indeed, and anything can happen here, even in the final minutes and final runs of the day. Now, we are going to shift things around, so...
How much time do I stand compared to sitting while streaming? I mean, it depends on how I feel. Like, lately I've been standing more than I've been sitting.
See you later.
But before I got my standing desk, or before I changed my desk, or converted my desk to a standing desk, I should say, or a sit-stand desk, I was sitting all the time. But I feel really comfortable just standing at the moment.
For these final dungeons that are teams that are on the chopping block for elimination.
I'll probably get bored of it at some point, but
yeah,
right now,
we ended the day right
this is how I prefer.
The identity and anti-clockwise going home. That being said, they are both still in range of mandatory.
To be gaming or streaming or doing whatever I'm doing.
Only those 3 teams that can get eliminated today, Liquid, Holy Method, and Missed Count, have 2 or more points above mandatory, so that is going to be the elimination threshold here, but it's going to be really close at the end of the day because it's only 1 point separating mandatory, identity, and anti-clockwise all from each other right now, so... If mandatory can time the Arakara that they are in currently,
yes, Craft Asylum,
they're going to open up the lead to 111 points, which
I've been obviously walking as well. I'm not walking now.
Very close to it because right now we have 29
but yeah, it's a really easy way to get steps in.
Identity have time to finish their run and start another. Anti-clockwise
doing chill keys or doing work or whatever.
Now in a position where this is
or watching anything. Like I've been watching a lot of Attack on Titan recently. It's really good. Like it got. It definitely. I feel like it got better and better. I think I'm midway through season 3 now, or maybe slightly further than season 3. Sorry, slightly further than midway through.
Even though they had this really unfortunate wipe deep into the 23. But at the same time, I'm also worried for that same reason.
I will say I'm very impressed.
Deeply into that 23 Arakara. And while that doesn't mean they can't do it, of course.
What's my prediction on who's winning? I mean, right now it looks like it's going to be Miscount. But Liquid and Holy Method could also, you know,
Liquid is rounding out their dungeons. This was
catch up.
The one dungeon of the capstone dungeons they haven't
it's not
done just yet, so the 23 makes
it's definitely not locked in yet.
It's I mean, Zyro and I were talking about it. It's a little bit surprising to see that they are playing that Elemental Shaman in here. It does. I understand intuitively why they're playing it. They're really worried about the Pound Master shoots. They're really worried about the Eviscerator Wicked Glaives. I think that the Havoc Demon Hunter has been the consensus best choice here for timer in this dungeon, just because its ability to be able to kill off the shards of Halcyon.
I get the same miscount now, just because they seem to be doing really well.
All of the bosses.
Based on what I've seen tonight.
Not just the bosses as well. The Inquisitor mini boss, Havoc DH, is really quite good at that. Elemental Shaman a little bit less so, although it can be a good opportunity for Ascendance if it lines up properly. But by default, outside of that, it can be Havoc really owns that particular mini boss.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be the first time Holy Method or Echo or whatever clutch it at the very end and win.
Yeah, they're just gonna immediately
I think just reset it.
Yeah, go again.
At least, like if you were 20 minutes in, you could keep it going. But yeah, they are indeed. It's timers and world record tags, right? They're trying to collect the 6 Infinity Stones of world record tags in each of the 6 dungeons this weekend. Which
are the teams allowed to change comps across dungeons? Yeah, they are, right?
This is actually unbelievably scary for mandatory here. All these blood workers, if a player gets targeted with the infest from the boss,
I don't remember Rendio, but probably.
Mandatory there, Soda. It was like Lumithar's Living Silk plus his wall, and he still almost died to the dot plus the Bloodworker charge.
Yeah, it's a very scary scenario. Thankfully, they were able to finish out the trash there, so now it's only a new deck that they will need to get through for a little while on 23. These bosses do take some time. Checking in with Liquid as they are working through this 23. I do take your point, Tuttles. I think it's really interesting that they're going for the Ellie here. It's a little bit similar to how we saw Auntie deal with...
I should watch Game of Thrones 10 out of 10. I know, I really should watch that. Yes.
But for Liquid,
I will at some point.
Right now,
but
they're looking pretty good here.
Yeah.
I think the Ellie's not bad, right? Like I do think
I don't know
one
why.
of those things that the difference between the Elemental Shaman...
I'm sure I will be happy when I do finally watch it.
If they started playing Elemental Shaman in, say, Arakara, I would start to have a problem with that because Elemental Shaman cannot do damage in the first
Yeah, they did. Me too. I know the ending isn't 10 out of 10. But,
so it's a huge damage loss in there. But in here, you know,
I don't know. People were very excited about it all the way up until the last season, at least.
Into this dungeon, it seems like it's going to be a little bit slower, but if it allows them to more consistently be able to time this dungeon, I think is an acceptable kind of play. Now they are going to have to be searching for a +1 though, because then you have a team like Mist Count who's already trying to farm timer, and that could be a problem.
Well, so Liquid are maybe positioned to actually win a timer war against Mist Count under the right circumstances, because
I didn't, Andev. I should probably watch that too. I've heard good things about that.
30 seconds. Great. They're faster in the Priory, although Mist Count are working to improve that by another 30 seconds. The Halls, we don't know yet. That's the dungeon they're working on right now. They're faster in the Floodgate by 5 seconds. Now, they're slower in the streets by a minute and a half, but because their weakness is concentrated in one dungeon and their strength is dispersed among many,
that's still really good going, though, Vito. First 4 of 5 seasons being 10 out of 10. It's really good. Yes, I watched Demon Slayer, plus the movie. I don't think that's as good as other animes I watched. Like, sure, the animation is 10 out of 10. But the story is kind of like, it's whatever. Yeah. The soundtrack is really good, though. Also. So, I still highly rate Demon Slayer, but the story is kind of whatever. AOT is what I'm watching right now.
All the 23 Halls of Atonement timers that we have, and granted, there's a little bit of variance between them because of how teams route. So, for example, Mandatory have a really fast Helkia split on 10-23, but they have...
I just finished watching the part where...
Mist Count are sitting on 11-53, and Holy Method,
you know, Erwin's big speech.
21. So
and
a wide
and what happened
angle
afterwards.
Between Helkia splits we're getting from our teams
that was
here,
insane.
Maybe we can kind of fit Liquid into.
I love that I realized during that speech as well.
Right?
Yes, exactly. During that speech, I realized actually that voice actor is the same as Jotaro from JoJo's. Japanese, of course.
The reason that those chains were so good is because of the Havoc Demon Hunter value. Oh, I mean, dude, Identity. This dungeon's had their number. I don't know if there's any way of tiptoeing around it too much more than that. It's just been a tough dungeon for them. And I mean, I think it just proves how difficult this dungeon is on the 23. Whenever we saw
The drill sergeant? Sergeant?
Count time it relatively quickly.
Yes, yes, I do. I do.
A known secret, maybe, that some of the teams knew that this was always going to be going to 23. Feels like maybe Identity was.
Is Garrosh voice actor on the dub version? Really?
Well, I think they did though, because clearly looking at their strategy, it does work at this key level. It just is not.
How far did he get into AOT? Mito.
I'm confident that they're going to get it this time. This time for sure.
Miscount are going crazy with those world records. Yeah, they definitely are. Definitely.
Time 22s and 23s of these dungeons, and I think we maybe tiptoe around the
Holy
world
method,
record tag.
death. Oh god.
Oh, a full wipe.
Oh, that's a wipe.
Oh.
All right, so Holy Method now will only have one more dungeon that they can time today. Although, of course, the Floodgate is the only one that they are kind of missing.
Oh, okay, Mito.
That,
There's so much more to it.
By missed count. In the
AOT.
meantime as well, while all of that's been going on, Anti-Clockwise did end up wiping in that Halls of Atonement, and it looks like they're heading over to Arakara as well.
I think I enjoyed.
Change of strategy here.
I've enjoyed season 3 the most out of all seasons so far.
Anti-Clockwise to try and qualify, but maybe they think they have a better.
Season 1, I was just like, yeah, I'll watch it every now and again. Season 2, I was like, oh.
Let me sell you on
I find myself watching it much more often in my free time. And then season 3, I've like been speed running.
Runs just to give us an update on
like
how
it's actually so good.
sent into this 23, and I noticed something. So we're on try 21, which of course you could make the pun of saying like, oh, maybe try 23 will be the one, but I actually generally see improvements throughout their timer. So their last run was like 17 minutes 25 that they got into this dungeon. And the run before that was 16 something. So they're for sure seeing further and further into the dungeon, which alludes to them getting a little.
I did watch
stable as
JJK
we're
plus the
seeing
movie.
Right now.
Yes.
Now, the worrying news is that Halkia split is kind of
plus the movie,
slow,
plus the
depending on how
newest
their
movie,
routing
I should
looks
say.
like.
The newest movie is just a preview, though. A recap of season 2 and also a small preview of season 3. Big fan of that. I like it.
Timing this dungeon right now, and honestly hoping that mandatory on the right-hand side of the screen deplete tragically.
Chainsaw Man is actually one of my favorites right now. Like the movie really won me over.
They are going to still have some time to be able to start another run, but they are kind of hoping that mandatory had the exact same fate that they did last time, that they were this deep into the Arakara, where a Blood Overseer cast goes unkicked. A really strange death. We've also
they have so much time now. Like surely this time they got it.
3 or 4 different tank deaths have happened, which is kind of a problem. But at the same time, for mandatory here, it looks like those Blood Overseers.
I shall watch it at some point, Undev. Maybe not straight away after AOT, but I will.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous pull for as long as those Blood Overseers survive, though, because there is a spell queue issue that you can run into with these erupting webs. Now, these ones aren't going to be a problem, but eventually, depending on when you land those kicks on their casts, what might happen is the erupting webs might line up with the Cosmic Singularity, and especially if the 2 abilities go off at the exact same time, you pretty much have no counterplay, so very important to make sure that...
I'll be busy watching GOT. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really understand that spell
probably.
with when you
I don't know what else I'll watch after... No, I haven't decided what I'm watching after AOT yet, but GOT is probably...
Here's a replay of Identity.
It's probably...
That's never good. I was
so
just cheering them on.
A likely possibility.
Yeah, I do think that was...
See how fast they kick both volleys this time? Yeah, yeah.
Split, but if it's the timer...
I don't know how that happened, dude.
I kind of feel like that's better than if we're wiping to the first couple of shards. Like, surely they can slim down on the timer a little bit, right? Copium.
I
want to be able to leave
Which season am I on in AOT? I don't know how far I am into season 3.
I need some of that opium, though.
Let me check.
I got you.
Though, it seems like the fact that they're aware that their splits are bad is an acceptable thing.
I have 4 episodes left of season 3.
Which is easier said than done, in my opinion.
Well, Mandatory got through the scary bit.
I'll definitely be rewatching AOT with my daughter, because we've been watching a lot of animes together. We've watched JoJo's together. Like, I rewatched that. I rewatched One Punch Man with her.
They are really fighting.
We've not bothered with season 3.
3 minutes 38.
We watched Dan Dan Dan. We watched JJK.
Dranos, mandatory time in this dungeon locks in our top
It does,
four, right?
yeah. I've just been looking at this, and if mandatory time is key with the resets that have come out in the past 10 minutes...
We're currently
from
watching
Identity and
Apothecary Diaries.
Anti-Clockwise, mandatory now have the opportunity to lock themselves into a Sunday appearance.
Is that
and
it?
lock
I
out
feel like I missed
Identity
something.
And Anti-Clockwise. Now, the order, 5th and 6th, the order between Anti-Clockwise and Identity is still up in the air, but if mandatory don't choke again here on Kekatal the Harvester, they will be able to finally secure that spot.
Which one?
for
Danadan.
tomorrow, where
Danadan
they
is
have
really
the
good.
Opportunity to redeem themselves from the sketchy start to this tournament and also in their group stage.
I mean, it's going to be tough because even after they put up the 111th point, the
Oh, solo
pathway
leveling.
to
We
what
watched that.
third
Oh,
team
Apothecary.
is not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
easy. They have the two hardest +1s in that Floodgate and that Priory, the Sacred Flame, still awaiting them. If they're
Yeah,
able to...
they could do one of them today, and that would be crazy
Yes.
comeback for them, right? If they could put up this and go.
I think
one
the
shot close to it,
opening
one
song
of
for
those
Apothecary
absurdly
Diaries
difficult
season
keys you
1 is
mentioned,
a banger.
that could be a huge pathway to their comeback potential.
That is the path for them to be able to come back. And I mean, they have had a tough weekend. I don't think there's any way to really describe it other than that, especially since anything other than first place is kind of a catastrophe for...
Oh, okay,
Spanish
fair
team.
enough, Mito.
They
You're right.
believe that they have the ability
You're
to
right.
win
I made it
each
through
and
Demon
every
Slayer.
single season.
I can make
That's
it
what they
through
always push for. So
other
fourth
slow
place,
animes as well.
you know, while some teams might find that great, this is
Free
catastrophic
Run. Yes, we watched Free
mandatory,
Run.
but
We
at
watched all of
the
that.
same
That's
time,
so
to be able
good.
to 112
It's so
points,
good.
that
Actually
puts them in a
peak.
similar position to some of our other top teams.
It's probably one of the favorite things I watched. No, it's definitely one of the favorite things I
Mandatory
watched this year.
Are going to get closer to finishing this run out, and in the meantime, we're checking in with Liquid. Now, while at the bottom end of the leaderboard, it is all looking pretty close to being decided. At the top end, there's a lot to fight for a team. So we
That's
did
what I
have
like
some
about
people in
Free Run,
chat
though.
earlier say like, oh, a team is
It's a
going to
nice change of
stop.
pace
Not
from the
sure.
other
Nope,
things
that's
that I
not gonna
watched.
happen today.
The
Our
story is
teams are
good.
gonna go as
I liked
long
it. I really
as
like the
possible,
characters.
and with 15 minutes left in the day, Liquid actually might be in a spot where they could start another dungeon run.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be, I think, very much something they would like to do, as we can see missed count resetting once again in this 22 time improvement Priory that they are trying to put together here. But Mandatory are about to finish Kekatal the Harvester, and with this, they are going to be guaranteeing that they will survive in...
I was going to say that,
Sunday,
Mito.
and
I was
this
looking
does
for the
mean
right word.
that Identity and Anti-Clockwise are going home in 5th and 6th, although, again, the specific order of 5th and 6th is still to play for. Right now, it is Identity with a minute and 15 seconds of advantage.
Let's look at Liquid real quick. I think that Liquid have the final difficult trash pack of the dungeon ahead of them in this Halls of Atonement. They were pacing to be pretty well suited to time this dungeon. We see a 1937
No,
echelon split.
Andev.
We've seen some much faster echelon
I will
splits.
rewatch it with her.
With you guys, but they are pacing to be just on the cusp of able to time this key. Now this is where that Elemental Shaman is a lot tankier than the Havoc Demon Hunter. It's double Eviscerator.
Yeah, I think so
double
too,
High
Andev. I
Master
think so.
shields, and wielding that shield is a very strong advantage.
She might find the
just
first
because of
season a
the
little bit
armor
slow,
and
but
that mitigation against
she'll
the
get into it.
VR.
Yeah, absolutely. Something they will need to watch out for here in this 23. It's definitely been something that has killed teams in the past, but they're not going to be stopping here for
I feel like they
long.
got through the
They, of
hardest
course, want to
part.
pull all of this into high adjudicator
Next
release,
part is the
so they're
last
gonna be packing
hard
there
part
pretty soon.
in this
Yeah,
dungeon.
are they going to chain it in? Because I mean that's something that we saw.
As soon as
I
they
think
kill
if
off
they
the
don't, they're
Eviscerator
kind
and
of
Hound Master, they can go.
But it would be good.
Well, so it depends on how fast they're going to be able to execute the mini-boss. I was talking about liking the Havoc in there, but maybe the Ellie can actually gain time if you get it with the Ascendants. I don't know where their last Lust is as well. Typically, teams have been using it on the mini-boss too, so that could be an opportunity for them to make this work, even with a slightly worse echelon split than we've seen from some of the other teams. They are getting straight into boss combat here, which is exactly what we need to see out of them to make this timer feasible. Yeah, Yip's running forward and getting this going right away. So I think the timer is still in reach for them, but it is going to be quite tight. Yeah, their pathing in here does seem a little bit slow. This might be a problem for them on the time tiebreaker side of things, is even if they're a little bit faster in a lot of dungeons, if they are a lot slower in one, that can be a problem for them if it's not something that they can correct because their strategy is just slower.
Yeah, I mean.
Rip
looking at
miscount.
Missed count were
Holy crap, Priory is
under
so
on
volatile at the start, huh?
And a minute and a half faster on their echelons.
Do I hear it? Hear what?
So I mean, this is the difference.
The effect on Dratnos mic, you hear it?
That Demon Hunter, it's scary.
Let me listen now.
It is scary to play.
I've not really been paying attention, to be honest.
It's insanely quick at the choke points of the dungeon. You know, the Shards of Halkias, the boss with all the funnel on it. It is very fast at those choke point kind of mobs.
Yeah, Holy Method did have one reset just now that we saw. So if you've been missing them, they actually had to redo that dungeon. They've been back.
Now he's not talking.
8 minutes, similar to what we just saw. For Miscount, everything kind of unravel, and Mandatory are now in this 22 Priory as well. A key that is elusive as it is difficult for our teams that they will need to get through. Now, this is not the pull where we see most things fall apart. Usually it's that night pull at the top edge that we also saw Holy Method put so many tries into before they were able to actually push on through it. So that's the one for Mandatory. We'll need to keep an eye out.
Looks like the adjudicator.
Love the filler dialogue, yeah.
2347 from this.
I mean, they gotta fill with something.
So we'll have to check with Liquid to see what.
I'll be useless at filler dialogue. We've already been over this.
A little bit slower. They were much slower on their echelon split. If they're able to claw back some of the time relative to Miscount here, though, I think that Liquid has the ability to time the dungeon. Because I don't think that we're looking for the most insane timer here. We are really, really trying to search for the ability to be able to get to that 113th point. And then, like Dratna's saying, we can try to fill in the puzzle piece that is, what is a time tiebreaker whenever we think that there is no more +1s to be capitalized on.
Yeah, again, like Liquid are going to be slow in 2 of the 5 dungeons, but there's going to be a big opportunity. Like if they can gain a minute or 2 in the streets or the Arakara, or even this dungeon if they run it back, then they have some pretty good advantages across some of the others. So yeah, I do like their chances of actually being able to compete for the time tiebreaker. It's better to be ahead in some dungeons and behind in others, rather than like slightly behind in all the dungeons. That's a much harder situation to come back from. So it is playable.
Guys, so Kira is actually in chat saying, my healer has a fire alarm for the last 20 minutes in our building. We can't play. Hopefully everything's okay for AJ.
Oh.
Wait, I mean, AJ's gameplay has been pretty hot today. I mean, I don't know. I think I could describe
out,
it like that.
Tettles.
That he was
Really?
on fire.
I mean, yeah, he's a Resto Druid. I mean, there was the Teldrassil incident.
Tettles, this is not
Resto
the
Druids don't
time.
go too well with fire after that.
Bro, what are you doing?
Can we replace this caster? Rook, would you like to cast a little bit of MDI? I know you're regularly hosting, but I think at this point we'd be thankful for any replacement, truly.
Oh, you know, I absolutely would love to, but I have to be honest, even though I was muted, Tettles, I did laugh pretty hard at that. I did. I thought it was funny. I'm sorry.
No!
Sorry, everybody.
Thank you.
That's nice. That must be really nice, though, Rook, because presumably that's the first joke you've ever heard. So I'm really happy for you that you've got to
Yeah, it
experience
actually
that today.
was. I love humor. I've just found out here now.
Wow, you're in for a
Awesome.
treat when you hear some others.
Yeah, some actual good ones, you know?
No, I don't hear it, Moon. What is it?
All right, so we are seeing for Liquid.
No, so
here,
what
Elise
happened,
split.
Muto?
So Tettles,
Or for those who
comparison
missed
we're
it,
looking at here, guys, it was 24-47. Is that what we're
Kiro
see?
was in the Twitch chat saying that his healer's fire alarm has been going off for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
AJ is the healer. And Tettles is also saying something along the lines of, well, AJ's play has been on fire this evening, or something like that as well. Or AJ's been on fire this evening. Whatever, you know. It was something along those lines, like, bro, should you really make that joke?
So I think the Havoc Demon Hunter will probably be like 10 seconds there. So as long as we're like a minute 20.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty tame, but it's like,
what are we looking for exactly?
it could be something serious, you know?
As long as we are sub 25 minutes, I think it
Bro
should
is
be
getting
okay for
fired.
Liquid.
All right, well, we are
Maybe
gonna keep
Moon
checking
also
in
did the
with
joke.
all of our teams.
Same.
Here's Identity working on Halcyon.
Again, why did
The
they
start of the
put
dungeon.
themselves in
Before
this
they had to
position
reset
where
a
they
couple
keep having to
times,
walk through the
to get
beams,
better
or
at
they
that.
had to
Their
choose to
timer-
walk through the
problem is that the
shards on the
theoretical
floor?
timer in here is also quite slow, just based off of their best splits before. They've never been particularly ahead of that timer, which means that even 1 or 2 deaths here or there might be catastrophic for their chances of being able to time this. 8 minutes left in the day for teams to start new keys if things go wrong in these runs. But Liquid now getting in combat with the last boss of the dungeon, so we will be able to get a good idea of whether this timer might be possible for Team Liquid. That 25:07 being the Adjudicator Elise split, and and they've gotten in combat with Lord Chamberlain with 5.5 minutes. This is going to be tight, but I think they have the damage in theory for this.
5 minutes on this boss? This is fine.
Times that we were seeing earlier, like 4:30.
So I have those, and you're not gonna like what I'm about to say. So the kill times for Lord Chamberlain have never been under 6:30.
What?
Okay, so
Wait,
here's the good news,
is that
though.
right?
No.
Well, that's what our timer splits say. 6:36, 6:36, and
Is that the boss
6:41.
Or is that the split between Elise and this boss going down?
Oh, okay. It could be the split between
Yeah,
the two.
yeah,
If
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
case,
yeah.
we
Sounds
might
more
be
There's
okay.
no way
Yeah,
that this boss
alright.
takes 6 minutes to
I
kill.
just pulled them up, and I was
6:30.
like, oh.
So, and the good news as well for Liquid is Boomy is just barely going to get 2 full ascendances in here, as long as nobody dies. If nobody dies, we are going to get the.
I think 5
final
minutes is enough to kill this
bounty out
boss.
of the second ascendant,
He's not the fastest
assuming
boss to
there's
kill.
a
I have to
cooldown,
write
which is
ones
pretty
down.
important
But-
here.
5 minutes should be
I've
enough.
been fooled, I've been bamboozled, but we recover, okay? Here are the real splits. 5 minutes 04, 4 minutes 50, 4 minutes 53 across the teams that
There you go.
were able to time this 23.
Okay, so we can time it.
Yeah, so we're
could
hard
time it.
chilling. No way they could deplete from here, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Well, that's not what I said.
That's what I said.
That's what it
that's what
sounded
you
like. That's
said.
what I heard.
That's what I interpreted
That's
from
not
what you
what I
said.
said. Not what I
But
said.
realistically, okay, so it means they have to have a perfect boss fight. to be able to
Yes,
do this.
Hobo, we can
This
agree.
time,
But
Iron Man
first,
notwithstanding, about to get another run started.
you know, they can
They
fix the design of arms.
True, true.
If they're gonna buff arms,
everything
at
is
least
okay.
make
We
arms
have
more
points
fun
of
to play,
courage,
which
our
is
teams
something that
stay
they're
safe.
working on in the moment in Midnight Beta anyway, so, you know.
Now, so they've used 2 of their minutes, and they've done a little bit under 40% of the boss's HP here.
Yeah,
So the way
BM
this
just
maps out
seems
is
to
every
do, like,
minute, they were
really,
about
really strong
20%
single
of the
target
boss's
damage.
health. They were actually a
It's
little
actually
bit
insane.
behind that pace, which that pace
They
would be
do
a 5
good
minute kill
AoE,
time,
like really
but
good
the
AoE,
Ascendant is
and
gonna
also
help with
insane
accelerating
single
the
target.
Ascendants again at the end of
It's
the
actually a
fight.
crazy spec.
And they had a little bit over 5 minutes, so yeah, it's going to come right down to the wire. We are going to have to make sure we check in with Liquid as that boss gets really low, but we have a couple of minutes before we reach that point. It is worth checking in with Holy Method as well, because they have had a couple of deaths in this run. One of them was a free Shaman death with the Ankh to answer it. But against Big
What does
Mama
Warrior
now-
do?
I mean, deaths in this.
I mean, Warrior does solid single target and solid AoE, I would say, all the time.
On this entire season.
Doesn't have good burst, though.
I don't know if 2 deaths are like an immediate reset. We
And
saw Miscount barely time
It's not so useful if you already have a Prot Warrior in the team.
But 2 deaths is.
And most people want that Prot Warrior, so that's why Fury doesn't get Prot. But then
Yeah, it's
again,
getting to the point where, like, if
this
you
is probably
mess up your
why
rotation a little
Fury
bit and
has
you have 2 deaths already on
been
the board,
allowed
you're
to
like,
stay
yeah,
as good as it is.
Let's just hard.
Liquid depleted by 3 seconds with 1 death for context,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then they came back deathless and.
What's
timed
this
for
link,
35
Muto? Is it
seconds.
safe for me?
But I mean, the timer is just on a knife's edge.
For after. Okay.
It's definitely a very tight one.
I will
but
copy
It is
it.
possible. We've seen time and time again, so we'll see if Holy Method can get it done as well. We'll get a little bit of an idea once this Big Mama split comes in for them top right corner. And Mandatory are also getting closer and closer to the danger zone as they are pathing through this 22 Priory. A key that many of our teams needed many attempts at. If any of our teams are going to be having trouble, they would like to have that trouble within the next 5 minutes. and then they can still
Identity.
restart it just like that.
Every time they
Identity
change their
is
identity,
getting
someone
better by the
dies to
year
ankle
before we
bites or
lock
something
into
stupid.
I
overtime.
mean, they were
Bruh.
already eliminated though, right?
They are,
Okay, but
they're
they're still playing
fit-
for
Yeah,
this place.
Yeah, they're done.
5th and 6th, they're not yet locked in which team is in which position there. So still something to play for both Identity.
Holy
and
Method had
Monty
2
Clockwise.
deaths
4
in their
minutes
floodgate.
left in the day
I wonder
for these
how
runs to get
impactful those
started.
deaths
As
were.
Liquid
I didn't see
10% on the boss, they have
where they died.
accelerated through the final half of this boss fight. They are well ahead now of the pace that they need here. And in fact, this is really important because this timer might hold for them. This time tiebreaker might matter here. And the fact that they've been able to do some good damage to this boss at the end here means they're really not going to have a bad
Maybe
time
that's
at
their
all in
identity,
this
to
23
die to
also.
ankle bites.
31,
Yeah.
15-ish, gonna be where it goes down.
Identity.
All right, that is a.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, in the greater conversation of time tiebreakers between Liquid and Miscount, they would have liked to be a little bit faster here, right? Because if you're comparing that HOA timer, Miscount locked in 30:54, and now we're a little bit slower than that. So for time
I've never heard of
tiebreakers,
anyone
actually,
call
we would like to be
Halls of
faster than
Atonement
the
or
other
HOA,
ones.
Yeah, of course.
HOA.
It's good to be as fast as possible, but for a while there, it looked like they were going to time that by like 5 seconds. So they were faster than that expectation that we had earlier in that run, which is good. But yeah, of course, they are going to need to find some time across their dungeons if they want to overtake missed count on time tiebreakers. And it looks like Liquid are deciding to do just that, unless the 24 Arakara overtime attempt is going to be coming in from them, because they are zoning into an Arakara, we can see here. The question is just which key level are they going to activate, as we have 3 minutes left in our day. There's likely only time for one attempt out of Team Liquid, and most of our teams
It's definitely
are about to have
Halls
these dungeons
or HOA.
locked. So, like you were saying a couple minutes ago,
Or if you're
these
feeling
teams
really
have to wait.
spicy,
They need to
Halls
make
of
sure they do it
Atonement.
right now, or else they are going to be losing an attempt today.
Ooh, this is a bit of
That's
a
right.
tough timer here.
But
for
HOA,
this
that's-
Big Mama split. I mean, you guys were talking
that's
about
crazy
the
behavior.
Wipe late, the 5-minute Big Mama. We saw both of the teams that have timed this dungeon so far in miscounted.
Not really, man, because of the
Out of that last jump start phase.
giga
Now,
avoidance
Big
that they
Mama's
get to have.
slowly whittling away.
So I wouldn't say they're
19,
real
32.
world
That's-
firsts. They can't really call them real
Okay,
world first,
it's
but
gonna be tough. If Holy Method believe that they can time it,
meh.
it's always been a bad wager to go against what they believe is possible.
That's true. So just to give you a little bit of an idea why we are
A cardboard
hesitant
video.
on that timer.
What of? Is it
1829
is it
is what
what's
we
it called?
saw from Miscount, and 1855
Expedition 33 again?
is what
'Cause I
we
think he
saw
was doing
from
some videos on that.
Liquid Each. So there's
Yeah.
a decent difference between those timers, but it could always be that they accelerate at the end.
I see. I shall watch
So,
it then.
Dragnus, we've been talking about Liquid and missed counts time tiebreaker. What's the situation with the Holy Method and their time
Continent,
tiebreaker
yeah.
right now? Like, if
Can I
they're
watch
putting up this
E33 now though? Now that I'm 33, I don't feel like I
Are they firmly in
should be able to.
Because that's kind of how it's
So-
been talked about, but I haven't really heard what the actual answer is.
Do I
So
risk
let's
being
go-
erased
I'll
the
take
moment
a
I click the
quick
link?
survey of the time tiebreaker situation, looking at it from the perspective of Holy Method, because Miscount and Liquid are about 45 seconds apart. which,
13th of
we've already
November.
covered a little bit where the
Mito.
differences are.
Yes.
Holy Method are the fastest team in Arakara, but they're only 2 seconds faster than Liquid. A solid 35, 40 seconds faster than Miscount. So Arakara is already a Holy Method dungeon. Halls of Atonement, Holy Method are also fast.
A while ago?
They're
Yeah,
4 seconds
just 2
slower
weeks,
than
right?
Miscount, but they are 15 seconds faster than Liquid. So it's a good dungeon for Holy Method.
Okay,
Priory the Sacred
under 2 weeks
Flame,
ago.
They're also quite fast in, so they're 10 seconds slower than Liquid, but 15 faster than Miscount. Floodgate, we don't know yet. They haven't finished that dungeon yet, but if they do time it, it's probably going to be fairly close. My suspicion is they'll probably be the 3rd fastest team there, based off of the timers so far.
2 weeks in
You
internet
don't know
time
yet.
is like
Either
2
way,
months.
that dungeon is
Okay.
quite close to the timer.
Checks
so
out,
There's not a lot
I guess.
of advantage or disadvantage to be gained either way.
Final runs of the day. No more rerunning.
And then in the streets, they are a lot slower than Miscount, as are Liquid. So, yeah, it's going to be close. I think they are.
Can I
decently
see? I need to
positioned
see
for
the
time
Holy
tiebreakers.
Method timer
They're
here.
in
Like
a
I'm trying to
similar position
gauge
Liquid,
how
where
much time
they're
they have
worse on
left.
Miscount, but if they can fix the
Is that
streets,
21?
then they'll be
Am I
better.
reading that right? Is it
So Miscount
21:48?
really have that huge advantage in terms of the streets timer is what it kind of
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
like.
Which could be an advantage, or it could mean that there's
26
a single
minutes
point of
remaining. How much?
vulnerability
What's
where
the
teams
count?
can target that
Bruh,
streets,
I
and
need to
if
see.
they can do it much faster, then they can get all of their time in one dungeon run. But speaking of time and dungeon runs,
That's actually
this
true.
is the time
Man,
for all the
yeah.
dungeon runs to become final, as these keys have locked in. So there's no more resetting of dungeons. We are entering over.
Things become like warrior news become old news really quickly
Well,
on this
actually,
stream.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Hold on, they had 2 deaths.
Hold on.
We committed a battle res and then slammed an onk, but they're fishing for the timer. Okay, we're out of here. We're definitely
AJ down.
out of here.
We're out of here.
First
We're out of
nine.
here. We're out of here. We're out of here.
Okay,
Never
great
mind.
day, great day. I mean, even though
Yeah.
they weren't able to improve their timer in the Priory of the Sacred Flame 22, we talked about it earlier, 22 Priory, 22 Floodgate, probably the hardest 22.
Did he just say Priory of the
If not,
Sacred
we're able
Flame?
to
Why did he say the whole
actually
thing?
be able to get
Priory.
an
Just say
additional
Priory.
Timer improvement, that would have been fantastic for them. For mandatory, if they're able to get all the way up to 112 points, that
It's okay.
feels really good compared to the
They're just
struggles
padding
that
word
we had at
count.
the beginning of the day on Friday and the beginning of the day today.
Absolutely.
PRF.
Well, hopefully AJ can at least figure out what was going on there. Their tournament day, at least for now, has ended. They have moved on to tomorrow, like you guys mentioned, with great results. Hopefully we can get an update on that as we move on. And of course, we need to now focus in on mandatory. Tell us, what are you seeing?
Can you give me some split analysis on this first boss mix? I know that a lot of teams have been playing some weird stuff, whether it be back pulling trash, whether it be how much count you have in a Dale-Cry. I feel like this Dale-Cry split is a little bit slower than what we've seen from most of the competition in the 22s, though. I feel like most teams are at like 11:30 or 12 minutes.
Yeah, by a good chunk, actually. So 12:26, 12:11, and 11:37 was the missed count one. So a good chunk slower. And that gives me a little bit of worrying because, of course, it's hard to get faster in the tail end of that dungeon, right? There's so much danger in how the priory is structured out, where if you go into that last hall of the dungeon, I don't know how you can accelerate there. So we'll need to keep an eye on where they're going to be putting this Baron Bromspike split. The other teams were all sitting around like 21-ish minutes, 20:29, 20:51, and 21:04. So if you're also a good chunk slower than that, I'd be very worried.
I mean, this is a very dangerous pull from Mandatory here. They're really not out of the thick of it. We're starting to look at some of their timers, but these Paladin pulls, these are probably the most likely pulls to wipe them. And they are playing 4 caster mobs here, so they have to be able to commit all of their CC. You see it in the top left, they just did a round of kicks on these priests and conjurers, and now we are starting to actually have to press things like Typhoon, which was separating out the pack for Mandatory, a very dangerous predicament that you see that they were in.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be a very important section of the dungeon, but also an important section will be Holy Method's Swamp Face split. So
if they kill this boss at the 26-minute mark, they have 7 minutes left.
Like timeable versus not timeable. So compared to the other floodgates that we've seen done at 22, the slowest Swamp Face kill, it was 24:40 for both teams, basically. 24:41 for Liquid, 24:39 for Missed Count on these timed 22s. Now, Holy Method are a lot slower than that.
I don't think they have it.
Slower by
I don't think they have it.
Than the gap between the timer and the depletion point for both Missed Count and Liquid. So this is very worrying for Holy Method.
Yeah, I mean, I have been in this exact situation. They don't have more count. They do have Lust. They could do that big pull again.
Like, I don't really think that there's much.
They do have to do that same jump starter pull.
Play here, and yeah, I think that for Holy Method, I see their timer just taking up 20. A 26-minute Swamp Face split feels like the end. They might still play it out just for practice, though, because this 22 Floodgate is brutal, and if they didn't have a ton of practice on it coming into this group, say it was a surprise dungeon. I mean, we see those sometimes where teams were just like, oh, I was not prepared for that.
I was thinking about that.
It could make sense for them to continue to play it out.
Yeah, so I think we're actually seeing that for 2 teams right now. So Holy Method and Mandatory both
they have to pull this into the left with the
but it does
big
make
guy.
Sense, right? If you go to
Lust,
a competition and there's a dungeon, teams are
kill it
out,
within 2 minutes.
Sure how exactly you feel about that.
Do the skip and then kill the last boss.
Slammed a couple of tries, but it hasn't worked out in your practice. And suddenly you see teams do it, then using your overtime to just go to the maximum of the timer and try to get through it basically on safe mode.
Is this enough count?
Makes perfect sense, right? I'm very curious where
if this is enough count, then they just kill this, then they skip it, then they do the double skip.
Exactly.
And then they might have enough time. But no. They did a slow pull. Okay, they have 1.5 minutes to lust and kill this off.
Now, for Holy Method here, 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Whenever
I think if it takes more than 1.5 minutes, then I don't see them performing the skip and killing the boss in time. Because I think they need 4 minutes combat time on the boss to kill it. And even 4 minutes is really tight. 4:15 would be safer. 4:30 is timed.
I would not be feeling good about it with 4 minutes and 15 seconds, but yeah, I think that's probably the absolute lower bound for how much time, or upper bound, right? I guess that's the best case scenario, maybe. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the bounds, upper or lower. It depends on your perspective, really, whether you're hate watching or love watching. Yeah,
I would say it's exactly that. It's doable, right? That's the big story there. So I think we could be fine. 4:17 is what Miscount had. So
okay. So
depending on how much that lust can actually lift and how fast they can get over there.
Done. Okay, here's part 2 of the question.
I think
still alive.
Oh my God, Whippy Zoom are they gonna wipe to mana?
Nah.
I think they might be okay. This jump starter is about to
Surely
die
not.
just about now. Yeah, Gingy is dispelled, which is the last.
They need to
I
kill
think,
the
big
last
worry
high
there
health
they
inspector.
would've had.
They have a high
I think
health
they'll be
inspector.
okay on this.
Clutches
The
it
question
out.
is just the timer,
Sure, he
right?
brought bandages.
To do the skip,
So Whippy has
gonna
to
be
drain
seeing-
the
410 on the
though.
boss.
Yeah, well.
Maybe.
This-
Maybe
Good thing is
405.
He's a druid, so
This feels terrible.
he'll be fast.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Here we
don't think
go.
he needs to drink. I think he'll be okay. I think
Kitty
he can
on
do this
the
boss
prowl.
with 20% mana.
you said 415. That was without Bloodlust. Holy Method have Bloodlust.
Wait, they didn't lust.
17 without lust.
Okay, they have
Yeah,
lust.
We do have
Okay,
lust, but
actually,
we
they
also
have this.
Don't have 417
They have
anymore.
this.
Holy
What the
Method
hell?
Successfully skipped 4
Bruh.
minutes, 7 seconds.
Sorry
Can
for
that
doubting
lust
Method.
account for 10 seconds? I say
Holy
yes,
Method.
but that also means a death, and that timer might
They
be
will lust
fried.
on the
Chat,
Ascendants.
This is literally going to be plus or minus 5 seconds on the timer. Bad news.
Nah,
is
they
that
have
Clix
lust.
is not
I
going to be
think-
getting
I
two
think they have the
Ascendances
time.
off.
I think they have the
is terrible.
time.
Good news is that he's going to be able to get 2 Storm Ellies off. Where are they going to be looking to press that Bloodlust? They're probably waiting for that Ascendance plus Storm Elemental combo. They might even be
Yeah,
waiting
they
for
might
that Execute
do
button for
the-
now as well. Execute, not a valuable damage profile in this composition, but you're just kind of waiting for all of the cooldowns to align. The Unyielding Nether
Yeah,
Prisms,
they're gonna
Call
lust
of
when
the
as
Wilds,
many
Ruckus
things
and
as
the
possible
Ghosts,
line
and
up.
the Ascendants. In that execute phase, that's probably where Holy Method is going to be looking to press that Bloodlust. On top of the fact that they want to press it.
They had a bad
the
run, I think,
boss is
Rendio,
actually
and they had
getting
2
the
deaths.
lasers, in that
But
jumpstart
yeah, they
phase,
have lust,
because
so I think
then
this is
the
doable.
DPS are going to be able to have the most uptime on the boss and not have to deal with things like the Giga Zap.
Yeah, exactly. There's some interesting calculation that you want to do here. So the first thing you want to make sure you do is don't lose any presses of any of your cooldowns. So for a button like Call of the Wild that Gingy just got back there, he actually had some flexibility on when to press that because there's only 3 minutes left in the dungeon, but you generally want to press on cooldown. Now with something like Ascendance, Clix actually is not under any pressure to press that because there's no way he can get an extra use regardless. So he can hold this Ascendance forever, and it's stuff like the
Forever.
Dragosa, the Pillar of Frost, the Call of the Wild that all sort of need to get pressed roughly on cooldown so that you don't lose a use. And what you want to do with the Lust then is identify a spot where as many of those are possible are all running and press the Lust right then.
Look at Gingy, he's doing 7.5 million DPS. He's putting Clix in the backpack, carrying him to the victory with the black arrow.
They're actually
procs.
doing so much DPS. Like,
You love
Kush
to
is-
see it, but what
Kush
you
and
don't love to
Gingy,
see is that we
both
did have a death there
are
for
destroying the boss.
Mandatory in the top right corner. We'll need to
They
check
still
back
haven't
in with them
dusted.
Once we actually see
They're on-
how
they're on
this
target to kill the
dungeon
boss in
run
time.
for Holy Method goes together. Their Brawn Pike split is also kind of close, so another dungeon run that could get dicey, but we need to focus
Don't
back
let that
in
split at
on
all.
this floodgate, please, production.
What are we
need to
doing?
see this run. We need to see them deal with this boss. Okay, at this point, this is just trolling. Please bring it back.
There we go.
1 minute 42. All right, so the Lust is going to get pressed in the very near future here. So actually, we're going to press it in 40 seconds. Look at the
Yes.
timers, right? We have Gingy getting the Call of the Wild in 35, and that's going to be the same timer for Kush's Breath and Pillar.
Okay,
And actually,
so the
you might
Elemental
need
is
to
coming
wait
up.
another 10 seconds to line up with that laser intermission, although realistically, you're just going to probably press that Lust because it's going to cover it anyway.
Set up now, probably.
realistically
Oh,
what's
Leaping
happening
Sparks.
Here is they are trying to get their Nether Prisms stacked up as high as possible on both the Death Knight and that Beast Mastery Hunter.
There's
to
the
be
Lust.
able to have
Cooldowns
as much damage
up.
as possible. So they're trying to
And he's
press
gonna
it
overlap
pretty
with
late.
the
And now Holy
Breath
Method
Ascender
are doing
Ghost as
this
well.
is where they feel like they can get the most
Yeah.
amount of
I like
uptime
the
on
timing.
entire fight. Giesel Giga Zap doing that Thunder Punch, going to be doing those Giga Zaps. Gingy's going to be turtling off both dots of that Giga Zap, and now Whippy's able to go into cat form, put up some of his dots, and now we are going into this turbocharge phase where the boss is doing AoE. Holy Method absolutely have to pump 50 seconds to do 25% of Giesel Giga Zap's HP. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. This is going to come down to the absolute
Bro,
wire.
stop.
Plus
They
or
have
minus
it.
5 seconds on the timer here is what we're kind of expecting.
Oh, do they?
35 seconds for 15% HP. Holy Method.
They're gonna
now
start tapering
falling
off
down
now
to
because the
plus.
cooldowns
They're
are off.
losing some of their offensive CDs as Clix gets a very well-timed Ascendance proc from that deeply rooted elements. 10% HP on Giesel Giga Zap. They have to be able to do
Oh, no.
1%
Oh my
of
God,
boss
it's actually so
HP
close.
every 2 seconds here. Holy Method are on the cusp of being
Ah,
able to be
no, I
the
don't think they
third
have it.
team
I don't
to
think they have
time
it.
this dungeon on a 22
Something
and jump
happened.
all the way up to 113
Clix's damage
points.
is so low.
We thought that they might be one of the teams that weren't the favorites coming into
They're
this
slowing
competition.
down.
They're
They're
slowing
decelerating.
down.
It's
We
not
don't
there.
have
Oh my
cooldowns
God.
anymore. 2 seconds.
It's a deplete.
1
They
second.
depleted
They're on the wrong end
No.
of this timer.
What a shame.
And Holy Method will be the second team to deplete by
2 seconds.
here.
Yeah, it's a
There were
2-second
2
deplete,
seconds
just
to
like the
go
other one.
At the end of this run, Oh my goodness.
Any work in the beta? You're not sure if based on will be ready in the Berserker window or just use it outside before we pop rack? I don't know. I haven't really. I haven't played in the beta.
In time, even with some of the most
Setting up the UI is the biggest barrier for me to play the beta. I just can't be bothered, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
except for mandatory, they certainly can't. 6 minutes left for them as we jump from one tight key to another.
I thought their lust should have been a lot more effective than that.
They need to be getting in combat with Prior's Mercury
on the on that floodgate run, but it wasn't.
It might come down to the wire here as well. Both of her boss splits are sketchily close in comparison to what we saw before, but what's also close is Skylark's possibilities to survive this pool. There's so much damage going out onto this tank that he will need to live here. CC coming in from the team to try and help. Purification onto Soda nearly takes him down, but he's able to survive. That Bloodlust still helping out with also keeping the group alive as Bode tries to push against the damage that is incoming
left.
here. They're not out of the danger zone yet.
I mean, I'm not a fan of their timer.
No.
I'm gonna be very candid. I think this last boss is like a 4:30 to 4:45.
It is a 4:30. It's a 4:30 boss.
Mandatory here, I think
they had to pull all the trash into boss, like the both sides into the boss. They can CC one priest and do one kick at a time, you know, one caster at a time.
With the light expulsion AoE, the light spawn looks like it's going to be going into that burst of light. Are we going to be able to get all the mobs moved out? A great bursting shot by Soda to get those risen footmen removed.
They just had to go CC one priest now, go into boss.
Mandatory are going to have to double pull.
Yeah, the priest is CC'd.
We see a freezing
Go
trap on that priest on
now.
the side. We have to get this other priest group up. Now we have to be throwing kicks. And I said 4:30.
I feel like they took too long to do that. They needed to do that faster.
3 extra seconds. They can do whatever they want.
Good news. Miscount was able to do it in 4:04. Our other teams were able to do it in 4:26 and 4:37 is the liquid split. So
Stowe doesn't have
there's a range.
Stowe will not have Ascendance twice. He's only going to have it available probably during that shield intermission is where it looks like it'll naturally come up. And so that is a large time loss. At the same time, if Miscount did it in 4:15, I feel better about Mandatory's chances.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be possible, but this is going to be extremely tight. I would say,
did all of the teams have to do all of the footmen on top of the boss?
Just slightly ahead of the theoretical timer they'd need here, rather than, you know, just slightly behind. But if they lose any damage,
yeah, Skylark is blasting here. Literally.
Like you said, they are missing potentially one press of Ascendance that the other teams might have had.
Clicks didn't seem to do anything with Ascendance in Floodgate. yeah, true.
Very good re-trap there on the priest in the background. It did run up and for a second looked kind of sketchy, but they are making headway through this phase one. Now, the way this boss kind of is structured out, that you spent a bunch of time here, you spent a bunch of time on the shield, and then that last phase, it kind of just melts. It kind of just explodes in front of your eyes. So it is a little bit fake on the overall trajectory there, but we need to make sure we keep the trap on that priest, which is exactly what they're doing. And of course, with the footmen in here, they need to be very careful as they're getting lower and lower, as every single time those footmen die, they do that little explosion.
Oof.
So we need to keep them CC to make sure that
get stun.
That is being done here.
Nice. Okay. Clean. They don't have any more lust though, and they don't have another Ascendance.
We've seen a lot of teams die that
2:30 left. They gotta deal with their shield. I think it's doable.
Unfortunately, it looks like the wall was a little bit too powerful for him.
The priest is still down there, and the mage is still MC'd, I guess.
That they need to worry about, as well as, of course,
well, the priest will come.
Lots of damage that goes out, and you can see that the Trank from Moat is coming in. He's keeping everybody alive here, but you also want to be cat weaving. And
literally 2 minutes to do half of the health
so a lot
on the
going
boss.
Simultaneously, but shield should be broken right here, right
no
now.
More Ascendance.
Neophytes getting knocked back.
They do get one more breath as in the
Priest
Gosa.
is not 10 count. In most situations, you would worry because we're missing count. At the same time, we have a control undeaded mob by Maystein. You can
Mana very low. I think that's a non-issue.
We use control undead on earlier in the encounter. That mob will probably be about 50% HP whenever Maystein elects to break that mob out.
Yeah, it's marked with
For Arrested
purple here
Druid.
in case you're looking for it. It's pretty funny. Every single time we see teams in this Priory, chat's like, oh my god, they miscount. But no, it's in there. I promise you. We can see it right now.
It's just
hiding
Chout as
behind
well.
Maystein.
That wasn't my reaction when I first saw this. I of course, immediately could detect that mob. But yeah, it's an understandable mistake to make as Mandatory now 1 minute and 11 seconds. Now the boss looks like it still has a lot of health. But this one in particular doesn't have a huge amount of HP, and they are going to be getting another set of these cooldowns soon. We are going to have one more Call of the Wild,
One more breath.
Ascendangosa has just come out.
That should be enough, I think, to kill the boss.
Is that going to be enough to get us over the finish line here? It's going to be extremely close.
I'm worried about the ability to count. Like, not necessarily the boss,
our mobs are what worries me. I think, I think we
need
get
to
the
free
boss.
the
I think the priest
mage.
and the mage. We kind of need to make sure we get those also.
Free them
Dropping
when
really
the
low here
Breath of
definitely is not
Ascendangosa is up,
something
at the
Mandatory
very
can
least.
afford, for sure. So our priest.
Where's the reason
Let's
mage?
go down lower. Let's see where
Oh,
our
there
mage
it
is.
is.
Looks like it's on
Yeah, they got
the
it.
third
They got it.
of its
They
life.
have
Okay,
this.
I'm feeling a lot better right now.
Yeah.
So 25 seconds. I'm not.
They pulled off?
6% on the boss.
What do you
So the
mean?
boss is dying pretty quickly here.
Dratnos,
They are gonna
no.
have to prioritize some of the damage into that mage as well. 3% as they find this final
Seriously?
cooldowns. Oh, but Mason
They have it.
gets CC'd. He doesn't look away. Has to get dispelled there.
Well, they did
and
it.
just barely, they are going to be able to stop the clock here. 11 seconds to spare as Mandatory. The end of the day, they've been able to clutch it out. 30 minutes ago,
He was just doing
45
cast to
minutes
hype,
ago, they were only
I
at
guess.
110 points. They were in danger of elimination. Now they advance up on our
Yeah.
112, tying Holy Method at third place there, 19 seconds behind off of time tiebreakers, which means there's now
Damn.
one run
Holy Method was
still
actually really
on the
close to
day
getting
today.
knocked out
It
by
is
Mandatory there,
Liquid's
right?
Arakara 23 time improvement run. If they can get this done in 28:15 or faster,
Oh,
they
we
will
still have a run
move
left.
into first place.
So I can tell
What?
you
They
how
will get
exactly
first
that
place
looked there
if
for
they time this
Mandatory.
with a
Will
better
you
timer?
dispel me? I'm not turning around being called by Macy. I assure you. But Teddles, how are Liquid's timers looking?
All right, so first boss split, they were 11 seconds under their previous Avanac split. This is fantastic news.
Holy Method won
Unfortunately,
last
their
time, I'm pretty
new
sure, yeah.
Split, they are 11 seconds slower than their previous run. Now, the advantage of this is that they had 45 seconds worth of time loss that happened on the final boss in their previous iteration of this dungeon on a 23. If Liquid are able to just not have those deaths, they are saving themselves somewhere between 45 and 30 seconds just off of the death differential. And that would actually be huge for them if they end up having better RNG, play the fight a little bit cleaner. There's also the invisible time loss of how much damage did we lose from nether prisms and whatnot. Mitigating those deaths could actually yield us another minute on our time tiebreaker, and Liquid could come out of the day if they have a clean end of this Arakara in first place. We have to watch out.
That's exactly what they're looking for, of course. At the same time, we do have the time tiebreakers at the back of our mind. And then, of course, tomorrow, there's going to be another dungeon added to this madness. And honestly,
Yep.
it's been so great. I mean, I was already incredibly excited at the end of yesterday with all the competition we have
Trying to
and
think.
how close it is. I believe Zyro was saying this top of show
I want to see
today
how much
that
time there is
all of
left
our
in
teams
total for the
have done
dungeons.
what
Then I
were
can
world
gauge how much
record
time they'll have
going
remaining.
into these finals, which is just
Imagine a
incredible
surprise
caliber
Dawnbreaker
that
tomorrow.
we have
Yeah.
At our MDI Grand Finals, and it just keeps getting better and better. At this point, if you had asked me prior to this tournament, I would have said at 24 streets is absolutely impossible. Like, no way. But at this point, I believe in it. I think it's possible. I think our teams are so crazy, they'll do something like that.
So
It is the only key that hasn't yet been +1'd from our times in the group weekend. So it is the logical next step. But here you can see in the bottom right those timers between the teams. Look at Liquid, right? They're in third fastest, right, of the Arakara 23s, but they have those 3 deaths, and the teams above them have 0. If you just took that red chunk off the end of their bar, they'd be so fast. And right now, they are on pace to do just that. 28:15 is the timer they need to come out of today in first place.
This end of dungeon sequencing that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, I think so, man.
is the reason that they're so fast. They actually do very insane in sequencing. We're going to be pulling these Blood Overseers into the boss. That's standard. Even though most groups in LFG would wipe to something like this, that's not where things get a little bit dicey for Liquid. The crazy part happens whenever we grab the other 2 Blood Overseers plus drones later on, and we take the boss out of the boss arena. Now, they did get punished in the 21 earlier this weekend, where Sounded like Wolf Disco bursting shot a mob out of the arena and then the boss reset. Assuming that we can avoid that, though, and avoid any of these other deaths, Liquid are looking like they're in great position. There's also another land mob mine. There's those flyers. If those accidentally get pulled,
Dismiss
one way
pet?
or another, then we just automatically lose.
Oh my god, the poor guy. Let him dismiss his pet.
How is this a working web cast set up? With
Yeah, so the basic idea is that the erupting webs, if it overlaps with the end of the Cosmic Singularity cast, if the erupting webs are going to go off at the same time as the end of the Cosmic Singularity, you're basically dead. If it's in the middle or the start, it's usually okay as long as you're playing around it. And if you know it's going to come at the end, you can last second get dragged into a puddle. But any time where it's really close overlap, you are in tremendous danger of wiping. Now, it is possible to manipulate the spell queue based on just when you kick the Overseers and when you pull into the boss. But it's not easy to do, and especially it's not.
Their timer is actually so good.
Overseers alive for a long time.
There's 6 minutes left.
But Liquid
Boss is already on 70%.
How to control these Overseers, and I think really just identify when they need to kick fast versus kick slow on these Venom volleys.
Honestly, I'm always stressed out when I see Liquid on Kickatal because of what they do, where they take Kickatal down the stairs and just, we're going on an adventure type style. Like, I don't feel comfortable with it. I've seen it evade once. I don't want to see it again.
Oh my gosh, Yips with the pummel leap. That was unbelievably scary. And dude, why do we see so many tank deaths on this boss across the weekend? It's actually been kind of crazy just how many times we've actually seen a tank go down, which causes a lot of problems on a fight like this.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're fighting it with the trash, there's a lot going on. If you get hit by the erupting webs, you're going to die. If you get hit by one of those venom puddles as well, one of the projectiles that are shot out from that dispel, that can also kill you. Especially because a lot of your defensives are on cooldown at this point. You're already using them. And at this keystone level, the boss just auto-attacks pretty hard as well, which is what makes any of those other things lethal in combination.
Auto-attacks? He's a prot warrior.
Alright, we should be getting closer and closer to where they add the rest of the trash into this boss. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Tettles, I'm seeing a lot of questions in chat about the hunter pet dismissed. Do you want to explain that one?
So there's no Bloodlust in this composition aside from the hunter, and he doesn't really want Bloodlust pet out for the entirety of this time. So he summons the Bloodlust pet, slams Lust, dismisses it, gets a different pet out. I'm not 100% sure what pet he's getting out. He could get Freedom pet out for the Black Bloods. I think that's unlikely. I think he's probably.
That's crazy. I didn't know the boss could be pulled here.
Yeah, he's just lost here. I mean, look at what's happening here. So, in most circumstances, this is what you would do if you're trying to reset the boss. However, for Liquid, what they are going for here is Wolf Disco. Whenever this Cosmic Singularity cast finishes, he is going to be misdirecting Yips and trying to tag these Blood Overseers as fast as possible, because then that allows the entire group, kind of like Dranos laid out earlier, the ability to be able to get the Venom volleys and the erupting webs at the right time, to where you don't end up running into a
no, actually not. Mito.
Complete lost con. Where now the boss is doing erupting webs, desynced from the Blood Overseer. The boss is going to be
back up.
Yeah, we want to get the boss back on the platform because doing the Cosmic Singularity on that side platform is very, very sketchy. And now Liquid have made it back onto the platform, and they've got through the hard part of this boss.
We are still in combat with an Overseer, but yeah, the timer is
insane
great,
time
right?
save
Look how
though.
low the boss is held
Pulling these
already.
things into boss.
23%. Remember, they have a minute and now 15 seconds, where if they can finish the boss in that time span, they will take first place in the overtime portion of our day, which would be a huge coup for them to pick up here at the very end of the day. But it is not over just yet. That Blood Overseer is a huge
Will it add this
point
to
of
it?
lethality
No,
here
I
in
don't
this
think so.
dungeon that they have to watch out for.
I mean, we could probably do it if we had a hunter.
That Overseer has cost many teams a key. I love
This is the way
highlight
to do
from our
22 aura for us.
Observers as well, but Kickatal already down to 14.
I believe actually he did,
Definitely
Jarlan. I
gives
didn't
me
actually
high hopes
notice.
for them being able to get on that timer. At this point, we're actually seeing a
Yeah,
similar
Volgon.
scenario
Yeah.
like we saw for Mandatory here. I'm not worried about the boss. I'm worried about this Overseer health being a little high, actually.
Their previous
Yeah, the
record
Overseer's health is actually really high.
28.58. It looks like we are about to get a massive PB here for Liquid.
It's not gonna be that massive, I don't think, actually.
Potential first place spot for them.
If it was 28-58.
20 seconds to kill this boss and the Overseer. The problem is the Overseer still has a lot of health.
The Overseer has so much
I think
health.
they're going to improve their timer. I'm not sure if they can get this dead in the next 10 seconds, though.
Oh, the Overseer is melting now, actually, though. Bro, what?
Very, very close
Someone
here.
just popped cooldowns.
Switch damage. They switched their target. Can you see an Overseer suddenly falling apart? They were saying, yes, you will go down. We're
Overseer stealth attack. Okay, that was
but
actually insane.
wild
Okay.
lock. Liquid locking in that dungeon on a 28.
They're only 7 seconds behind.
That is incredible.
Holy
7
shit.
seconds
Tomorrow's gonna be
between
insane.
Discount and Liquid now.
Absolutely beast mode performance by them. 7 seconds separate them from miscount. We have 2 teams at 112 points, 2 teams at 113 points. An absolutely fantastic championship Sunday is ahead of us. This is going to be crazy.
This is already so wild. I mean, I feel like from the beginning of groups to this moment,
Wow.
it has
Cool.
only gotten more and more intense.
That was a good day
in Season 3
to watch.
of the MDI here in The War Within. This is just incredible to see. And of course, here at the end of the day, watching Liquid go for that one.
See,
they are
where's
really trying to come for that first spot, but
Nephew
Miscount
I?
right now still
I heard something about
managing
this.
to hold on to it for the time being. Now, unfortunately, at the bottom of our rankings, we did have 2 eliminations today, so Identity and Anti-Clockwise will be saying goodbye to the competition, but to have come this far was already impressive in an MDI that just is one of the most competitive ones that we have ever had. So
Oh,
incredible
that's insane.
job. But I mean, Tuttles, looking over our leaderboard, can you give us the overview of day 2?
All right, so I need to grab this thing. Nephew
Any
I.
team has the potential to be able to win. Sometimes
So
when
I'm
we
gonna-
go into the Final Four on Championship Sunday, we'll have some teams that
I don't know,
are
man.
an
Soon.
outside
I'll link
shot.
it in both
Right
chats, and
now,
I'll just.
we have Miscount
I'm just gonna
Liquid all the way
use
up at
this to
113
set up my
points,
UI.
being
I
able
think
to
on the
get
beta,
+1
and
in
that'll
pretty
be
much every
hopefully
single dungeon except
good
for
enough for me
streams
to use
compared to where we were during the group weekend. An
when I do
absolutely
finally
monumental
decide to do
feat.
so.
And we have
But I
Holy
don't.
Method and
But I
Mandatory
don't feel like doing it
trying to
now.
get that 22 floodgate on the board, which
But yeah, let's see. So Holy Method, they will try and get 22 flood tomorrow. And then what will Miscount do and Liquid do? Will they try and do streets first, or will they keep trying to get better timers in the dungeons that they've already done? I can't see them trying 23 flood. That doesn't happen. Private doesn't happen in 23 either. Halls, I don't see that happening either. Arakara? No, I don't think that's doable either. So I think it's improved timers or 24 streets, and obviously this day is a new dungeon tomorrow.
First and second is 7 seconds.
Miscount probably gonna do Arakara for better timing, yeah, because it's like a 1 minute plus difference, 1.5, something like that.
Set that we have on our leaderboard, and these little differences in time can end up making the
Right.
a huge difference between
That's gonna be it for me today. So I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, maybe depending on what time my team is playing keys, maybe I'll stream me setting up my UI on the beta. But we'll see. It depends on how much time I have also before my team does keys. Like if I have a lot of time in the afternoon, I might just do Stellar Blade or something. But I really should find time to do beta at some point. Oh, there's the dismiss pet attempt. It's so funny. Alright, anyway, see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And I really do want to watch this final tomorrow. I wonder if I can. I probably can't convince the team to cancel keys tomorrow. That really sucks.
dealing damage to the boss as well. Although
Meh.
this is gonna look smug.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Who's to say? Who's really